Well, I want to take a look at all your matchups by the end of tonight.
Okay.
But what's going to happen is until like it takes a very, 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 very large amount of time to refine a single build
Mm-hmm.
into top level play.
Yes.
And I assume you don't play 12 to 16 hours every day, right?
More like 3 to 5. Like
Yeah.
at least like 15 ladder games per day, and then there's always the custom ones. And then some days, depending on what classes, like if it's a day with a lot of classes or not, I'll be playing like 5 to 7,
Uh-huh.
or I'll be watching VODs and stuff like when I'm not
My,
playing.
my point is, you most likely will not have enough time to learn more than one build order per matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not to say that you can't switch, because after you do learn the build, it's not based off of muscle, or it's not really based off of muscle memory, and it's not something that'll become irrelevant. It's more something that will stay in your head. It's the knowledge that you gain from it that will be able to carry over, and that like then you'll always remember everything about the build,
Mm-hmm.
so you can do a different build and then switch back to the first build that you were doing.
Yeah, and I feel like for example in TVZ, there's the 3 Reaper opening into 3CC, and there's not too much of a difference between opening with a cloakless Banshee and then with just not going for a Banshee. So like, could I learn like 2 build orders in that sense? And if they're very similar, they're both like macro oriented. They both have the same opening. Just one of them you put down a starport and do multitasking with Banshees, and one you don't.
Nope, that's too different. It
Okay.
literally, so by build order, I mean, if you were to pick one replay
Mm-hmm.
in that build, in that replay for that matchup, that is the single build that you will be practicing on for the time being.
All right, sounds good. I'm okay with that.
Everything else, it's just how to illustrate this. Basically, you are going. I wish my hand motions. Yeah, basically you can, or if you're learning different builds and you're constantly switching between them, even if they are very small, like what you were asking about just now,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to be necessarily going up in improvement. You're going to be going side to side.
Yeah, because I'm not like focusing on one thing. Like once I get a build down 100%, that's when like everything else starts to improve because I'm not thinking about the build anymore, right?
Yes, and that's where, when you get the build down and you know what kind of different reactions you are going to be doing on different maps, then it becomes a lot easier to switch up your builds,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can do stuff like, well, you can do different stuff, like now you can do Banshee opener or non-Banshee opener, but you'll be able to quickly incorporate that because you'll already have knowledge of how to play on the map, and that just carries over.
Okay, so I understand what you're saying. You're not saying, oh, you can only learn one build with the time I'm playing. It's the fact that I'm only learning one build right now just so I can learn the game and not have to focus on learning another build.
Yes, and after you learn that, then you can switch over to different builds. Like, I'm not saying for the rest of the Heart of the Swarm you
Yeah.
have to stay at one build. Just for the quickest way to improve, maybe it's probably going to take, I don't know, a couple weeks to a month
Mm-hmm.
to see some really, really drastic improvement. It depends how much you do the build, really.
Yeah.
Then you'll get a better sense of what I'm saying, I guess.
Okay. Awesome. No, I completely agree.
Like, for example, there's this new build that I wanted to learn. It's a Reaper expand into a fast Woodermine drop that Innovation does. Innovation did that. He did that versus Curious in his GSL group. He did that versus Sue at IN Gamescom. And the difference between the two build orders, although they're the same openings, but the amount of refinement that happened in and I guess it was about half a month to a month that he's done the same build
Hmm.
is it's very very big, and there's big noticeable differences, but that only comes from doing the same build for weeks at a time. And
Yeah.
for someone like him, he not only did it for weeks at a time, but he also did it more hours in a day as
Then
well.
then like a full-time job. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then then after you get a build to that kind of a level, it's and it still matters. You can't just obviously if you're going mech and you're going bio, it's going to be different. You can't just like learn a bio build really well and then switch over to a mech build and have the same things come and play. Mech game plans are generally very different from bio,
Yeah.
so that's going to take more time for adjustment. But for smaller things that stay within the realm of the same styles, like just Bio Widowmine or Mech into Sky Army, then that's more, I guess, what I'm talking about, what I'm referring
Hmm.
to.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I'm okay with having one build in each matchup that I just refine down to like a science. Like, I'm okay with like putting it all in, so I don't have to think about it. Um,
Do you have a build in particular, or
I'm thinking there's one build that I've been doing in TVT for a long time that I kind of moved out of because I was playing around with mech and stuff. Um, and I did okay with mech, like 50-50 in Masters with like no practice whatsoever. But of course I don't know it. But I play bio in the other two matchups, so I think that playing bio in all three would be my smartest choice just to get the control down too. Just always be using the same units. Um,
the
and
uh, the control? Like, I get what you're saying, I get your reasoning, but the control for each matchup, it's all right to do something like mech in TVT and then bio in TVP and bio in TVZ or something like that because they're completely different matchup and everything is different.
okay,
So very little actually overlaps.
I'm thinking doing a standard in TVT standard gas first into Banshee, and if I see that they're not going Banshee, continue Banshee production. But if I see they're going Banshee, then start a Raven after the Banshee, and then
That's a bit too broad already.
okay.
Did you watch the day 9 thing yet?
I watched part one and half of part two.
Okay. What did you think of it?
I thought it was really good. Like not just saying, oh, if I built a bunker, I would have lived. It's more like, oh, I should probably have someone at the watchtower to see if this is going to happen in in future games. Um, like
Like,
not making an excuse, but making something that you can do in all future games to make it so you don't lose to that again. All right, see you, dude. Um,
yeah, it's the I think the main theme is that you have a build, and when you lose a game, first you have to figure out why, and then
mhm.
you want to make the smallest possible adjustment to your build so that it stays the same. So when you're saying you want to open up gas first Banshee,
Yes.
and then you say you maybe want to make a second Banshee or Raven depending on what he goes, that's already too big of a deviation.
Oh, so just okay. No matter what, one cloak banshee into Raven into Viking every game.
Yeah, I have it's nice that you actually mentioned that gas first cloak banshee into biotank because I've been working on a build in TVT where it's pretty much that. So I could show you a couple replays of that if you want.
Awesome. And you can upload that replay to like spawning tool too to get the exact like build order right away. If like unless you have the build order written up somewhere else already. Um,
I guess I'll upload it to spawning. Well, can you link me?
yes.
I'll do that. I'll do that later though.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Upload it here, and then you can get the build order right away. Also, here's my info in game.
Oops. Okay. One more. 121. All right. So let me I have two games right off the top of my head, like right here. It's me doing the same build, and it's a good illustration of really what I'm saying, and it's just shown in application, just doing the
Hmm.
same build on every map over and over again and having different reactions for it or for different things. And so these are both bio versus mech games,
Okay.
and if I guess I can do them. I'll do the first game we played and then the second game we played, and I'll it just look for how I guess how similar both of the games from my perspective are. And by that I mean how little things change. Like, sure, some stuff is going to change because of the map. Like, there's not a map, or there's not a watchtower in Terraform, whereas on Cactus Valley there is a watchtower.
Hmm.
But other than that, my reactions against mech are very, very. It's basically I always go to their third base area, put up a little contain. I don't try to push to do damage, and then I am just there to deny their fourth base. So like on Terraform, the third base is here, so I just kind of siege up over here and just stay there
Hmm.
as long as possible to deny their fourth base from going down. And then I take my fourth base and I try to take it faster than theirs and keep an economic advantage that way. And then
Okay.
eventually transition into Sky Terran and stuff like that.
How do you react to when they're going to, like, when you're sieged up and they're going to push the siege line, dropping hellbats? How do you react to that?
Um, I go a bio tank composition, so as long as I'm sieged up, I'm generally okay.
But like,
Like you're just gonna drop the Hellbats, and it's not really gonna do much.
because there's so many Marines for DPS.
Not only Marines, but you also have just the Marauders and Siege tanks provide a lot of bulk towards your army, so that even if he drops like 4 to 6 Hellbats,
They're gonna
yeah,
die
you might lose
instantly.
some Marines, but you'll have enough Marauders there and tanks that those Hellbats are going to get shredded very,
Okay.
very fast. And to the point where it will be not a cost-efficient engagement for the
Uh,
other player.
and FYI, this is the exact build I was referring to, the one that you're doing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just been doing this for the past week, so that's
Awesome.
perfect. And I always go 3 CC off of it. So
I do
the
too.
begin
Yeah. Awesome.
the beginning part here is probably I guess the deviation. I'm just gonna stay on my point of view for a little bit, but the
Okay.
deviation usually comes when I scan if there's mech or not. So like the Banshee, it didn't fully scout his. Oh, actually, it did. It already saw the second factory, so I already know he's going mech, right?
Okay. And if you don't scout that factory, when do you think is a good time to scan to see if mech is happening?
I usually do it when my second command center finishes.
And you get the scan from it?
Yeah,
Okay.
and even if I don't know it's mech, I will still scan anyways because this is the time that. So see how I made 2 Vikings? This is
Yes.
the time that I I can either against Biotank lift up the starport and build another reactor and get my barracks, or if he's going for um, a Raven Viking attack, a big one, and pulling up Vikings, and he's going to do a big. He has like a Banshee, a Raven, and a bunch of Vikings for air control, and then Marine and tank, and he does a slow push. I'll
Hmm.
be able to scout that as well and make proper adjustments to that.
Okay. And you're looking, like, based on what you see, you're trying to adjust the main build as little as possible, like, and to the point where it's almost the same. But if there's a big Viking attack coming, you keep on producing from the starport on the reactor. But if you see that it's going to be safe, you lift the starport and create 2 barracks, and then get your production faster.
Yeah,
Okay.
Basically, everything you see here up until when I start making Marauders and when I have a second type lab on my barracks is how I open every single game, regardless of what my opponent is doing. It's
Okay.
just that safe.
Okay.
I might
Awesome.
make I think my eBay was a bit late this game, but that's probably the only thing I could say that wasn't great.
Okay.
Upgrade.
Yeah,
And
that's what.
everything is very specific as well. Like, notice how have not made a Marauder yet. It's because I don't have enough money to
Support.
support
Yeah.
Marauder production.
Okay. Yeah, because that would delay everything else.
Yeah, and I don't have my gases until now as well, even though I do want them.
How would this build defend against a kind of like 4GG mass Hellion thing?
Well, you have the tanks, and then you
Okay.
have Vikings, and you have the Ravens. So the auto turrets and the tanks, and then having a bunker is pretty much enough.
Okay.
When you're doing a build like this over and over again, and you have a specific game plan in mind, and my game plan again is to try to limit the mech player's economy and to get economic advantage myself by trying to delay his bases as fast as possible, not by harassment. So when you have a game plan like this, I know you have a lot of questions about how to do different kinds of reactions, but that all kind of goes away and gets a lot easier to do because you no longer have to think about what you're doing in game. When you're focusing on a specific game plan and you're doing it over and over again, it takes the load off during the game, a lot of thinking out of it, so that you can focus more on stuff such as macro and just overall mechanics.
Okay.
Our SCPs.
So for me, that question, like a 4GG style mech push, I'm not even thinking about that at this point. I'm just doing my own thing. That's how much I don't care what he's doing. Or that's how much I shouldn't. Obviously, if you play on ladder and you lose or something like that, then that's an important replay. You have to go over it, make the adjustment, or make the proper adjustment, I should say. But if you have not played it yet, then do not worry about it, because then you are just preparing for things that technically do not even exist yet.
Okay.
Like, why worry about that when you might not even play that on ladder to begin with?
I agree.
Ever.
And ladder games
Complete.
aren't nearly as important. Like you don't need to prepare for a ladder game and against everything that you might face. You just play and learn and then get better.
Complete.
Yes. If you look at my base, or my vision as well, I have almost no scouting vision of what he's doing,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't really matter. I know he's going to be taking a third base. I know he's going mech. There's not really much else to matter, or to know about.
Okay.
And right now, I'm just kind of securing my third base, and I'm also starting my fourth base because my game plan was to stay ahead of my opponent in economy stay ahead of my opponent in economy, so that when I do trade out, I will have a better kind of remax. Like,
Additional supply depots required.
this isn't the most, I guess, cost-efficient unit comp. Mech is definitely by far more cost-efficient, but cost efficiency doesn't really matter that much when you're up a base against your opponent or something like that.
Game paused.
Yeah, I
when
agree.
there's like a big differential in amount of minerals available.
Mm-hmm.
So this right here, this is a pretty short game, and then we play another game immediately after. This is just a push going towards his third base. I haven't decided the exact time to push out yet. It was just kind of a let's push, let's poke, see what he has. He ended up not having any siege tanks in position. His macro was kind of a little bit sloppy. A better Terran should have had about 4 to 5 siege tanks, in which case I would just siege up and try to delay the gases, maybe snipe the sensor tower, and if I can do that without losing too much, then I'm pretty happy. But in this case, he didn't have anything, and so I can just kind of attack, move, and win. In the Vikings, I'm not going for air control either. It's just they're kind of there to soak shots up from the other Vikings and to provide some map vision and to not let my medevacs die immediately.
Oh, okay.
Game
So this is a pretty straightforward game, I would say. And when I'm taking after I have my production buildings added, then I add on 2 more barracks and then another factory and my 4th base.
Factory. Okay.
That's kind of my go-to, I guess, mid to late game, just setting up for that before any starports get added.
Okay.
And I do that every game as well. So I'll show you the next game. It's a bit longer, but it's me pretty much doing the exact same thing.
Okay.
I want to just kind of highlight and point out all the small things that I was doing. And then it's just so like when you see it, then you can kind of be like, hey, you did that last game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm really emphasizing how little you want to change in your build. And really the only major adjustments I've made to this build are I haven't really made anything. Like against 3cc, against 5 racks, I do the same thing essentially. There's maybe the only minor small adjustments that I would do against like the difference between a 3cc build and a 5 racks build in biotank versus biotank would be just having better marine positioning, like having a marine at the 3rd, or perhaps a scan to see his production buildings to see the fast 5 racks, or just take my 3rd a little bit slower. All 3 of those variations, or I guess adaptations or refinements, they don't notice how they don't change anything about my build. It's not like add extra missile turrets before you move out so that your main is safe or something like that.
Did you build the Hellion last game?
Yes.
Okay. Then that's the only thing different that I don't do. I don't do that.
You have to build the Hellion because you don't SCV scout. But on 2-player maps, when you do this build, you have to check for the what's it called? Proxies. So just sending an SCV out really early is generally, or not really early. Sending an SCV out at I think 16 supply, just checking around your natural, is pretty standard thing to do, and it's a small adjustment 4-player versus 2-player maps.
Okay.
Game resumed.
Okay, so very, very similar stuff again. Unfortunate I lost the Banshee. That means I'm gonna have no scouting information at all.
Add-on complete.
Ready to blunder.
There's a scan to see what he's doing when my... Oh, I did it a little bit before. I did it with my main orbital instead of my natural. I'm not 100% sure which is the better option yet,
Our SCVs
Okay.
and I unfortunately probably won't find that out because most players don't practice this way. It's very easy for Korean players to do this because you know that when you're playing someone on top of the ladder, it's the best possible thing that they've thought of. But I won't get too much into that.
No, like there's less like human error and stuff.
Yeah, and a lot less variation to their play as well. So I guess if you're going to scan with your main command center or with your natural, I don't think it matters which one, you're gonna have to figure out which one's the best. You would have to play multiple games, doing scan with the first one and scan with the second one, and then compare them, like 10 plus games to get a good sample size, and then make a decision. But for now, just pick one, like scan with your natural or scan with your main, and keep that timing.
Okay, I'll probably do the natural.
Okay.
Game resumed.
We could use some help here. SCV ready.
So again, everything's pretty much the same.
Upgrade complete.
SCV ready. Ready to blunder. SCV ready. Ready to blunder. SCV ready.
Our SCVs are under attack.
I made turrets this game because he had cloak researching,
Research
but it was a
complete.
fake. That's a small minor thing. But it was a reaction to, you obviously have to make turrets against
Add-on
banshees.
complete.
And my macro is a little bit, I guess, sloppier
Add-on
this game,
complete.
so my Raxus kind of go down at a different timing.
Hmm.
You ideally want your Raxus to go down at exactly the same time every game.
Okay.
Want some? Let's have a blast. SCV ready to blunder.
That Viking poke was not a good idea by me at all.
SCV
Research complete.
It's okay to... This was like a game where I try...
Additional supply depots required.
I've done... Even though the macro part is the same,
Hmm.
the what my units do, like there's a close air position here, so I decided, well, why not try to poke with my Raven and Viking fleet, maybe get some scouting information at all, or I don't know, something useful, but it was a very unuseful trade. Trying stuff like that is
SCVs are under attack.
alright, but ideally you want to pick one, like on this map.
Our
You either want to always do that, or you don't want to do that at all.
Under attack.
Okay.
SCV ready.
Base is under attack.
Oh, there was a game I played the other day before I played this game where I was doing this build, and this guy did a Hellion drop, and I was so pissed because it killed my entire mineral line.
Hmm.
So now when I know it's mech, and that means there's a possibility of a Hellion drop, I left a siege tank in the main, and this time it did a lot less damage than
It would
like
have.
all these SCVs are alive. I'm still in a bad position, but
Are under
they're
attack.
alive.
Hmm.
So that was like a minor adjustment I made, just keeping a siege tank over there for defensive purposes.
SCV ready.
And one of the good things about practicing like this is even if you're behind, you kind of know, it gives you a better idea of what corners you want to cut and things to do to get back into this game. Like, I am so unbelievably far behind right now. Well, I'm not unbelievably, not game winning or game losing behind, but I am behind.
Additional supply depots
Mhm.
required.
But I'm still pretty much playing just as I did
Is under attack.
the last game. One of the main things is I went to push to the third, but being Cactus Valley,
Game paused.
it's a lot harder to catch your opponent out of position.
Yeah.
It's also a very big map as well, and he had the sensor towers placed fairly early. So I did that initial poke to the third, and then he scanned me, and then I backed up. So that was
Game
it.
resumed.
I'm just kind of here, exerting a little bit of pressure, trying to make him nervous. I get a little bit of a good trade there. This was actually a bad idea. If he had some medevacs, then
Game
I would have
paused.
lost
Game
my
resumed.
I would have lost my army. Like in hindsight, let's see. So yeah, this is just
Oh, that hurts.
yeah. Now I go home with my tail behind my legs.
I feel like he could just push with everything right now and win.
Add-on complete.
Most likely,
Okay.
but his game plan You see how turtled up he is?
Mm-hmm.
He has a million turrets here. He has a million turrets there. And this entire game, I only had the 3 medevacs over there, 2 of which got sniped.
Yes.
So he's preparing for things that...
Don't apply in this game.
Yes. And that's something that you have to be aware of to not do that until you actually lose to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think here he could have definitely won. His game plan though was to just kind of, he wanted to take a 4th base, and he's very turtled up right now. He has no intention of pushing out anytime soon.
And if he takes a 4th, you can catch him out of position, so he's scared to do it.
Yes. Even though I am kind of behind. So even though I am behind, and technically against a better player I would have lost, you can always say stuff like, oh, if he was a better player, I would have lost, blah, 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 blah. But you still should play you should still play trying to win until the very last second. So I'm not just because I'm behind doesn't mean I'm deviating in any way from what my game plan is. I'm still taking the 4th base. I still have my bio-tank army. I'm not trying to do anything drastic like tech into really fast Sky or cutting siege tanks to just produce a lot of bio or taking a hidden base. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just playing standard. And that's slowly helping me catch up into the game. This here, this force is supposed to stop this 4th base, and then I have the scouter over here. You should take this 4th base as a mech Terran. He didn't have enough medevacs. If he had like 4 medevacs, he could have easily busted it down. I do end up bringing some SCVs and building a couple turrets there. Of course, the execution of it isn't perfect. That takes a lot of practice. But it's just the general idea. The idea is to stop his 4th base from going down for as long as possible. That's all I want to do. So a 3-base mech Terran player cannot afford to get starports like this. Well, this guy can because he's just been camping, but you can't sustain it for a very long time.
Okay.
It's important to know, I guess, the economy stuff, just basic economy. Like, as a Terran mech player, you generally cannot transition into a big Raven Viking fleet until you have your 4th base at least. Or if, on the other side, like in TVZ, when you're meching, you can't transition into Sky. You can get Banshees very limited, but you can't really do that without 4 bases. And then 5 bases is usually how much gas you need to start getting battle cruisers, because they're even more expensive.
Alright.
So here I'm just sieging up his 4th, trying to do something. Didn't go well at all. He's able to defend it successfully. But even though he took his 4th, I'm not really panicking. I take my 5th, and I'm still ahead in bases, which is good. So now that he does have his 4th base secure and he can start making Ravens and Vikings, I have a 5th base. So my Sky transition is going to be a lot stronger than his. Or not really stronger, but I'll be able to make a much more sustainable army, and by that I mean we can trade out, but I still can.
You'll be able to remax faster.
Yeah, and that's the really important thing I'm looking for here, is just to stay ahead in bases with the other Terran player. So right now, this is kind of where I realized this is going into a split map situation. There's really nothing I can do. Of course I'm testing his defenses and just being annoying, but for the most part, the game is not going to end. He's just very well turtled up everywhere in these 2 positions. So I'm just taking these small trades as alright. They're not significant in what's going to win the game or not.
Yeah,
This is just
sieging that fourth is very good.
Upgrade complete.
yeah.
I never knew about that spot.
Oh, Cactus is notorious
Mineral
for this,
field
especially in TVZ. That little position just harass these
Research
bases.
complete.
It's so annoying.
Armed and ready.
See, once I get one build down, then I can start focusing on stuff like that.
Upgrade
Exactly.
complete.
And so now I'm just kind of teching into air because I have more bases than him. And now my plan is it's still to deny his bases and try to take mine faster than his. So I know his 5th base is going to be over here because I'm still sieged up over here.
Hmm.
So this is the next point that I want to be in position for, to be able to stop his base from going down, which I kind of am. This was an okay fight just because I was able to pick off so many ravens that I did. That was kind of cost inefficient for me, for sure.
Hmm.
Mineral field depleted.
But the fact that you're like keeping him from maxing out and stuff.
Mineral field depleted.
Just the fact that I have... Oh, I killed his 5th base. But just the fact that it's 5 bases versus 4 means that I'm still in a good position. And now I'm taking my 6th base. So, just the whole point is to stay ahead in economy. And everything else, all the decisions you make in the game become a lot easier after you have a game plan. And you have to have that game plan predetermined before you go into the game. You can't just decide stuff like when you're like 2 minutes into the game, oh, I want to go bio or I want to go mech. You have to have that game plan specified, and
Complete.
just you have to have your mind on it before you go into the game.
Oh, so all the trades you're taking, you're just doing that because you know you're ahead in bases. You're just going to keep on taking trades to starve him out.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm just looking for small trades here and there, just to make his even limit his yeah, pretty much, yeah. I don't have to say much, I guess. But it all goes to, like, now that you know what my game plan is, a lot of my moves make more sense now, all of a sudden, right?
Yeah, like you're sitting there killing a couple SCVs here, killing 3 tanks here, sacrificing little armies to kill gas-heavy units.
Ready to blunder.
Yes.
Complete. Base is under attack.
So now I'm teching the Sky Terran because I have the economy for it now.
I never really had that kind of idea of playing, of having a game plan, and just
Mineral field
going, like,
Destined geyser exhausted.
playing to that game plan the entire time.
Day 9 has a lot of dailies on this kind of stuff, and I think it's essential to be able to get to a very high level. Even mid to high Grandmasters players don't necessarily do this. They have a game plan, but they won't stick to a build and then refine it.
Hmm.
Like, you see players try to do weird things, weird timings, and it's just not... Like, this is how you build a macro style that you can do multiple times in a row against the same person and win.
Yeah.
And that, I think that feels a lot more solid than trying to play something that your opponent hasn't experienced, or I guess kind of like trying to catch him off guard and gaining an advantage and then winning that way. This has a very specific plan to it and stuff.
Hmm.
Okay, so now I have that Sky Army. The map is split in half. So, see, this guy is top 16 Grandmaster, and his game plan, he didn't have a game plan going into this. He was just like, I'm going to go mech. And all of this is a result of the game going on longer than he anticipated. That is why you don't usually see this kind of stuff in pro games, because they always have a game plan. This is very, very random by him.
Yeah.
Or very haphazard, I guess.
He doesn't really know what he wants to do.
Yeah, he's just kind of... I guess his game plan was like, not to split the map, but to just turtle until I attack and I GG out. He had no intention of attacking, and he is just in pure defense mode.
Hmm.
Oh, but so now that we're like on... Yeah, I don't know what to do now. You attack, but now that we're at a split map situation, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bases. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this base is going to be important. These 2 bases are going to be very important. These bases in particular are the ones that I'm going to want to try to deny, and this is the base that I want to try to take next.
Okay.
Just to, because if it just follows the game plan that I have. It's just, which is essentially to starve the mech player out. And even though I'm going to take an engagement here in a little bit, but... Oh, and I'm going to lose because... Oh, I even have I have better upgrades. But I'm going to lose this engagement here. Battle cruisers kind of suck. Learned that the hard way. But even though I lose this engagement, I pretty much won at this point because he can't remax this army, but I can.
He has no gas.
Exactly, and I have a big bank.
Base is under attack.
So like I'm not really worried at all. I was just happy that I was able to trade semi. Like my cost inefficiency isn't good at all. But if you're up an entire base, you have 8 mineral patches in a base times 1,500. What is that? Like 6,000, 12,000 minerals and 5,000 gas. So you can up to 17,000 more than your opponent and still be in a good spot. And I'm only at, well, I'm at 6,000 now, but before it was closer to 10,000 difference.
And you've lost more resources overall, but you're up a base, so it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, exactly. And so now I can just, now he can't remax his army, and I can be a lot more aggressive, because I'm still looking to get some aggressive trades going. And I did switch back into bio. He made a lot more air than he should have. Well, he needed to make a lot more air, because if I made a lot more air, then he would have been in trouble. And so now, yeah, he's pretty much dead at this point. I still have a very healthy bank as well.
Yeah, you do.
And that's pretty much the end of the game. So I wanted to show you those 2 games because I did the same opener. It was the same game plan against his, I guess, same opener and same game plan as well.
Okay.
But my game plan was just, it was a lot more solid. He didn't really have a game plan. His game plan was just to go mech. And mine was to deny the mech bases and to stay ahead in economy myself. And then just look for those trades and stuff.
Okay. Awesome.
So let's take a look at your replays now.
Okay.
I'll upload some games to Spawning Tool for the build order after we're all done. I want to take a look at my EU account because I think I have a better, more solid, I guess, version of it. Because both of those games, I was still improving my macro. Alright, make me host. Alright, TVZ. So, do you want to play bio or mech in TVZ?
Bio.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what opening I do in this. I do 3cc, 3 Reaper. So the build that I'm going to choose to do every game is 3 Reaper, 3cc macro. Like no Banshee, just macro.
Okay, well,
Game paused.
I guess we shouldn't be choosing the build. We should be choosing your game plan. That's a much better way to put it. So,
Okay.
What do you want your game plan to be in TVZ?
My game plan... Hmm. See, that's the thing. Like I've always been dropping and trying to do multi-pronged attacks to kill bases and kill drones, um, along with kind of like sitting off of creep in certain places with widow mines to not contain them, but to like force them to keep their army there while I'm dropping somewhere else. Like, so
Okay,
what does that boil
that
down to?
that kind of sounds like you're just mindlessly multitasking and trying to win by sheer brute force.
Basically.
Um, so a better way to say it, like having a game plan will give purpose to all of your drops and everything you do. So, um, a game plan for this matchup, you can actually use the same game plan for each matchup unless you're doing a specific timing. Like it's just general macro to try to keep an or try to get an economic advantage against your opponent and to keep that advantage by expanding faster than him and just dragging that out throughout the game. So let's say you're ahead and you're able to take your third base around the time he's taking his third base or something like that.
Hmm.
So now all of a sudden you know that you're ahead in economy. You can start being very aggressive. You can start looking for all these trades, and you pretty much can just whittle him down until he GG's. And he might be able to get a fourth up, but it'll be a pretty expensive fourth, and it should be delayed to the point where your fourth base would be up by the time he gets his fourth base up, and in which case you'll still be in a very good position.
Okay, how is this for a game plan? Getting fast upgrades, taking trades while I have an upgrade lead, and then dropping to kill economy and stay ahead in economy when I'm at equal upgrades.
It has to be as vague as possible because sometimes drops won't always work. Then what are you gonna do? Or
Hmm.
what happens if you're behind and you all of a sudden you don't have an upgrade lead? Then what's gonna happen, right?
Hmm.
So it should just be
I'll,
to
I want to multitask, play bio, and get early upgrades. Those are the three things that I want to do. So,
those are the three things that are part of your build, not or that are yeah that are part of your build that will help you execute your game plan. But essentially, a standard game plan should be. Sorry, I'm trying to find the exact words because wording is very important. It's kind of like a topic or
a
is it
thesis
topic
statement.
sentence? Yeah, thesis statement to your whole paper. And if you don't have that specifically worded for the rest of your paper, then things are going to be out of place.
Okay. So how about constant aggression and keeping the economic lead?
Say that again.
Applying constant aggression, whether it is with drops or pushing out on the map, while keeping an economic lead.
But then what happens if you cannot apply aggression? Hold on. Okay, I guess a uh, a very general game plan would be to stay up in bases and stay up in economy. Just that one sentence.
See, but the Zerg usually has his fourth going. So basically, if he's up a base, I need to kill his base, or I need to
Mm,
take one.
yes, and sometimes like you can do a timing attack to try to kill his base, but in the event that that doesn't happen, we do often see games bio versus mutabaneling games go on past the fourth base mark. It will set you up for when that does happen. So your push fails for whatever reason. Maybe you had a bad engagement, some bad Widowmine shots, you had bad macro, you were supply blocked, you were out of position, you took a engagement, and you just had poor control. So even if all of those things happen, they happen very often to even the best of us, well, you still have something to fall back on, which is to take your base and to build up your army and to you can get back into the game that way.
And then using that with that game plan, I can execute it basically however I want as long as those requirements are fulfilled. Like it's not like a
Yes, to stay up in bases and stay up in economy. And that gives you a lot of wiggle room because if you're ahead, all of a sudden you can do a timing push on one of his bases. Or if you're behind, you wouldn't do the timing push. You'd play more defensively, send out more drops, and try to take your base as fast as possible.
Okay, so in the situation, let's say healing floods it as a Baneling bust, and he gets ahead in economy, I have to do something to get back onto my game plan. Like whether it is going for like a all-in-ish type push to cripple his economy, or being extremely greedy.
Yeah, both of those are they're not the best answers because they deviate from your game plan.
Yeah.
Because your original game plan was not to do an all-in push, and your game plan was also not to be more greedy than your opponent.
So
what happens is, it's kind of tricky to explain. I might just have to link you some VODs that I have in mind. They're innovation VODs where he goes for various different build order openers, but he still has the general game plan where it's to, like on this map, his game plan is to stay up in bases, stay up in economy, and so he will take these as his first 3 bases, he'll take that as his 4th base, then he will take this as his 5th base. And yes, I've seen him take this as his 5th base multiple times before. The games do go on that long. So even if you're behind, even if you get behind by the Ling Baneling Flood, let's say, and so let's say you get behind, but to a certain point where you can still come back. Of course, if you get behind and he does too much damage, so you're at like 10 SCVs against 60 drones, and the comeback you'd really have to pull a miracle to come back, or your opponent would have to really mess up. Let's say it's more close, you're down in workers, but you're not out yet, and you still have stuff to work with. Well, you'll still follow your game plan. You'll do everything that you were planning on doing, even if he didn't Baneling bust you. So you'd still take your 3 bases. You would move out, like you'd find his Mutalisk timing. You can look for damage to do with your first 2 medevacs. And then if he's still ahead, he's probably going to take his 4th base, the Zerg player, and in which case you would be on 3 bases. Your 4th base would be maybe, I guess, it just have started or something like that. So you still look around, you try to take some minor trades, send out drops, push onto the map to sit right outside of creep, because even though you might be behind, as long as you don't push onto creep, then he's going to take a bad engagement. And if he takes a bad engagement, all of a sudden you're that much closer to getting back into the game, right? So doing stuff like if you're behind or ahead are small things, small differences, small changes, such as if you're ahead, you'd be a little bit more aggressive and push onto creep. If you're behind, you'd be a little bit more defensive and stay off of creep, like right on the edge of it, though, so that he can't keep pushing his tumors out, something like that.
Okay, that's a good idea. So if I'm ahead of base, or if I'm ahead in economy, and I know I am, then if the Zerg is even on bases with you, you're ahead in economy, or Terrans are ahead because of mules, correct?
Yes. So Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if I'm even on bases with my Zerg opponent, then I can be a little bit more aggressive.
A little bit, because even though you're technically ahead with mules, as long as a Zerg has an army, you still can't. Like he can be on 3 bases and still have an army if
Hmm.
you're not trading well. What he cannot do is transition into hive tech, and he will also eventually starve out a lot faster with mutabaneling as opposed to if he had a 4th base.
If he tries to transition into hive tech, he's just gonna have a smaller army and he's just gonna die.
Yes, and you're gonna scan and be like, "What are you doing?" And then you just kill him.
Okay.
Let's take a look at this game, I guess, because this is a lot of theory crafting against stuff that hasn't actually happened yet, and so it's hard to explain.
I think I win this game, but I'm not sure like
Okay, so
what.
let's go with the game plan. Just the game plan to stay ahead in economy and bases. That's all you're looking to do this game, okay? Even if
Okay.
you don't necessarily do it, that's all. That's your end game plan. So everything that isn't in line with that will be a lot more obvious to us. My friend Kelazor from Root Gaming likes to do the Triple Reaper with the bunker.
Yeah, that's how I got the idea from. You know Kellizer? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we used to be on Core Gaming together before he got big.
Is he uh is he better than you by a lot, or is it like kind of close?
Um, I'd say it's close. It's not. There's like big differences between because him and Masa are only 1 and like yeah, him and Masa combined are only 1 and 19 versus Hydra. I might lose more games to Kelazor,
Hmm.
but it's by no means that far difference. There's still like I can still take games off of him
Yeah.
if he's not playing his best or if I don't take too much damage.
Hmm.
So I would say we're around even. Why are you making a starport or a reactor on your starport?
Uh, like I said, I don't really have the build refined.
Okay. Oh, and you made a banshee as well. Is this the build you want to do, or
No,
you
this
decided
this
no banshee?
this is just like this is just in general how I play, just so you can get an
Okay.
idea. Like with this Banshee build, like if I don't have the Banshee, I'm gonna be dropping. I'm gonna be trying to do something with drops and Hellions and a lot of times I end up adding my production late, but that's just a build order thing.
So the first thing I notice here is that you have not taken your 3rd base yet. So even though you are ahead, you've done a lot more damage to him than he would have liked. If your goal was to stay, if you told yourself, I'm going to stay ahead in economy and bases against my opponent, you would have taken your 3rd base faster.
Okay, and staying ahead in economy and bases versus Zerg, it's gonna be being even on bases.
Basically, there are already predetermined expansion times, and you deviate off of that based on what's going on in the game. So I think a standard 3cc timing, I'm not sure off of Reaper expand, but let's say like CC first into 3cc and the double eBay build, that standard timing, if your opponent is playing macro, to take your 3rd base and having zero damage done throughout the entire game, both players are on an even
It's
footing.
not late nine, right?
It's about 850 to 9 minutes. It should
Really?
be landed and start making SCVs.
Okay.
So you need to have it. You should have a timing like that, and that's all part of doing the same build over and over again. So that, and we'll figure that out before the end of tonight as well. But having that kind of a timing then lets you say like, okay, so I'm ahead. I can easily take this 3rd base safely like that.
Hmm.
There's gonna be like no problem at all.
Game resumed.
There's nothing your opponent can do. If he tries to stop that
Game
3rd base,
paused.
he's gonna be all in. If he tries to play greedy, well, he's gonna not have a big army to try to catch up against that fast 3rd base. So that's now where what you were referring to earlier, against that like Zergling Baneling bus doing too much damage and putting you behind. and then you initially said to play either really greedy or really aggressive. Notice how neither of those things would really work if you're against your opponent if he was just playing standard, because it would catch all. The best option is just to play the game out.
Game resumed.
Okay.
Research.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Base is under
Oh my god,
attack.
that's even crazier.
Yeah, that's just unlucky. Like, or not unlucky, but I forgot about that.
Well, and it's a combination of not having your macro on point. You could have easily had enough units to deal with that
Yeah.
if you didn't. You have way too many barracks right now. To make up for your macro.
Hmm.
You need to have a set amount of buildings to build. In TVZ,
Game paused.
if you're going 3CC, you usually have the first barracks that makes stim, then you have 2 more barracks that you add on, and you have the reactor on the factory, and then you build another reactor, and then those 2 reactors are for your second and third barracks. Then you build 2 more barracks, so you're on 5, and then you build 2 reactors on those, and then after you have your third base down, and you're fully saturated, is when you can support 3 more additional barracks, in which you build 2 tech labs and 1 reactor.
Hmm.
That is your standard production building time, and that's what has been tested through the ages of what you can support on 3 bases. Then when you have extra money, it's also helpful for macro, because then you know, like, okay, I'm not making my units, or I didn't add these buildings yet, instead of kind of trying to constantly keep your money low. And I guess you're pretty much freestyling things here at this point,
Yeah.
just to try to keep your money low. Alright, so even though you were ahead, and even though you took a lot of damage, your third base is now down at the 13-minute mark.
Mhm.
Extremely later than it should have been. It should have been, for reference, if we take a look.
Game paused.
Ready to raise some hell. SCV ready.
Additional
Dominate.
supply
Trouble. SCV ready.
It should have been before the 10-minute mark, essentially. Like, around here is when it should have been floating off.
Game resumed.
Okay.
But you should have had your production buildings earlier, and macro should have been better, blah 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 blah. But optimally, it should have been about now. So you're easily 2 minutes
Attack.
off of the optimal third base timing. From being ahead as well.
Okay.
Add-on.
So, like, I guess another thing that might help is here, like, after you know you're ahead, what was going through your mind? Probably, like, what else can I do? What kind of damage can I do to get ahead, right?
And oh god, he's gonna all in me, isn't he?
Game paused.
So that's why I took the third late. I was going through my mind like he's gonna mass up units and then he's gonna kill my third or something like that. But I was just thinking wrong because I was out next to his base constantly, and I should have gone through my mind like I'm killing units and I don't see a massive army, so I shouldn't worry.
What? Even if that's true, but you also, like, you haven't seen a massive amount of units. You could have technically hidden it
Hmm.
from your vision, because he does have the overlords here, so he knows where your army is. But you really should be thinking. You shouldn't be thinking at all about if he's going to all-in you or not. You don't have evidence that he is or is not going to all-in you, and frankly, is there a reason to be even scared of a big Ling Baneling all-in if you take your third? No, because you just lift it up, and then he's already committed to being very all-in, and you'll still be, like, he won't, if he's all-in right now, then it'll be 2 bases against 2 bases, in which case you're even with the Zerg player. You're ahead in bases, you're ahead in economy. In this case, he's playing macro, while you take your third base, you're ahead in bases, you're ahead in economy. So, like, the best thing you can do here to get ahead is to take your third base and just not miss a beat in your macro.
Okay.
Game resumed.
That was a very YOLO Reaper Hellion run by.
Yeah.
Game.
Oh, another thing, if you did take your third base, or if that was your goal to take your third base as fast as possible now, you wouldn't have kept your Reaper Hellion force over here. It wouldn't have killed those drones, but then his Lings also wouldn't have done very much damage, if any, as well.
Mhm.
So this is deviate or not having a game plan or deviating from your game plan here is what's already kind of putting you behind, I guess, and losing your advantage that you had earlier on.
Complete.
This better be good. SCV ready.
Upgrade complete.
I guess it kind of lifted my third to move over when my natural got saturated.
Yeah, you should do it around the time when you get 16 SCVs at your natural, and that's usually about 9:30 to 9:50. I don't know the exact timing off of the
And-
Triple Reaper.
Would I have 2 gases on the natural saturated as well when I
Yes,
land my third?
yes.
Okay.
Your entire third base would be saturated.
Research complete.
SCV ready.
Okay, so you're still in a good spot. You did kill his drones. Your economy's even right now.
Oops.
You're ahead in supply. So you have a bigger army, you have a bigger economy. So what seeing this now and knowing what we've been talking about, what would be your next move here?
Go kill him. Like, I'm
Be
ahead.
more specific.
Go trade. Trade, his Banelings and Lings for Marines, because I can replace Marines better than he can replace Banelings on 3 base gases.
Okay, that's part of the game plan. The best step would be, though, like, how are you going to trade? You're just going to attack, move across the map, and fight on creep or something?
I'm going to push onto creep, but not too far onto creep to the point where I can't escape.
Think game plan wise. What's your game plan? To stay up in bases and stay up in economy, right?
Oh, so I can go attack. At this point, I could go around, let's say, oops, wrong button. Drop here, push here to kill economy.
Let's take it one step further. You are, like right now, you're essentially saturated on 3 bases.
Yes.
What does the Zerg player have right now? He's on 3 bases as well, right?
Mm-hmm. He had.
And his 4th base is only halfway done.
Oh, I was looking on my
Oh, your view? So you
Yeah.
didn't see what he was doing?
Yeah, I killed the 4th. Yeah.
Yes. So like, even if you didn't see it, that should be on your mind that the Zerg is either going all in, which is not really going to work against your army, especially when he's forced to fight off creep.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't even have to you can just completely disregard if he's going all in or not, because his timing is going to be way off. So your next move should be looking for his 4th base and denying that. And
Okay.
then this is where your kind of positioning and multitasking play come into auction here. So there are 2 bases that the Zerg player can take. This is the standard 4th. This is the not so standard 4th. Reason being because if they take this as their 4th, you can drop 2 medevacs. You can even drop 1 medevac and probably cancel it very easily.
I
This
usually do that, but like that doesn't like apply because I didn't really have a game plan, but like that's just something that I kind of usually did
Yeah,
anyway.
it's something that you kind of did already, but it didn't really have a purpose. Like,
Yeah.
it was just kind of random, I guess.
It was just like going with the flow, like whatever I kind of felt like doing at the time. So I wouldn't do it every game. So having getting a style that I do every game, so I don't have to like think, oh, what's the best thing to do right now?
Not style, game plan.
Or
That's
game plan, yeah.
the key word. But yeah, so like if now that you have a game plan, all of a sudden everything becomes a lot more clear, strategy-wise. So you're up in bases right now. What's your next move? wants to deny his base.
Mm-hmm.
And then you obviously you want to trade units with his. You don't even have to though, because your upgrades are ahead. So if you're trying to get really cost effective, you would actually wait until 2-2 to take a big engagement, and then trade with 2-2 upgrades against his 1-1.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So I guess so here now, in this position, I guess the best move positional wise would be to control the watchtower. You obviously want to check where his fourth base is, like maybe push up here. He doesn't have creep, so you could easily push around and check if he has a fourth base there, or send a drop that just goes over this area as well. So obviously the middle is very important, but then after you secure the watchtower, just kind of sending a drop in this direction, like past his fourth and then to his third, like that. So you scout for his fourth. If he has his fourth, you can drop, kill it potentially, or do damage. If he doesn't, you go straight to his third base, do potential damage there.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and then you technically shouldn't really even attack or think about stepping on creep until your 2-2 is finished. At this point, it's just a waiting game, because your strongest possible timing is 2-2. The worst thing you can do is to take a not-so-good engagement with even upgrades. You would just be throwing your advantage away.
Okay. And it doesn't really matter how I execute it as long as I'm staying to my game plan. Like, if I drop in the main and his fourth, the main is just a distraction so I can kill his fourth.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So it's not like binding me to you have to do this, you have to do that. It's more like just as long as these areas are met.
Yeah, it's giving purpose to what you are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you dropped in the main before, like right now, before the game plan, you'd just be kind of looking to do as much damage as possible. But now that you have a game plan, all of a sudden the main purpose of dropping into the main is a distraction. So even if it does absolutely no damage, the fact that it was there and causing units to be pulled back in itself is a win.
And then if I kill some drones, that just furthers my game plan. Like it still applies.
Yeah.
So only make moves that will help me, that won't punish me too much in the fact if it does nothing. Like if that drop does nothing, I still got the fourth. So then that's a win. And don't do any big like kind of all-in-ish, not all in, because I'm not all in if I like push right now, but don't do any moves that would punish me horribly if they didn't work.
More like, because there are some things, like it's gonna happen where stuff happens where you get punished, something didn't work, maybe the Zerg player had a really good flank and he just completely wiped out your army, and so you're in a bad spot. But to still win the game, you want to just follow your game plan and make sure that every single action you do applies to it. So as long as you have a purpose and you're on track of your game plan, you can still win the game.
Okay.
Because there's always the next step ahead of you. So let's say the Zerg player completely destroys your army and almost pushes you back and is now in a good spot. Well, what would you do? You still know that his fourth base is going down, and what do you want to do? You want to delay his economy and stay ahead with your economy. So you'd still try to drop his fourth base, and you try to draw him away, depending on how many units you have. Like, you still have an option of what to do if things go wrong. Because things are not all... You have to practice for when things go wrong as well as when they go right. So, like, here, it didn't go too well for you.
No.
But even if it didn't go too well for you, the fact that you traded armies and you have a better economy than him means that you're going to be able to replenish your army faster. So even though that was a bad trade by you, you're still going to be in an okay spot because you're still on track with your game plan. but I bet in this game it kind of felt like, oh crap, the Zerg's making a comeback now, right?
A little bit. Like, I kind of got the vibe that the fact that he didn't have 2-2 at 15 minutes, well, neither did I, but the fact that he didn't have 2-2, I was just like, all right, something's up. And I noticed, like, oh, I got those kills with the Hellions. Oh, I got the kills with the Banshee. He didn't really get much done with his mutas this game, so I was like, I just need to keep pushing. Because when I get in this position where I have all my barracks going, like, I kind of like to test the water, and then if they use their entire army and barely clean up mine and I still have reinforcements, I know that I should keep pushing. But if they have any extra army after they clean it up, then I know that it's kind of like an after the fact, like hindsight, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, that's what it kind of sounds like. And that's not something very good that you should be working on because it can only take you so far.
Yeah, exactly.
Game resumed.
And I feel like once I get the build down to a science, I won't get supply blocked as much, my unit production will get better.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, you'll be able to hit your 2-2 timing a lot faster, and you'll be like, oh, okay, well, my macro's on point, I'm ahead, all I have to do is hit a timing now and not mess up with my macro, and then all of a sudden I can pretty much just kill him.
Mm-hmm. And in your opinion, is 2 Reapers or 3 Reapers better?
If you're going Reapers, go 3 or 1. 2 is too middle of the road.
Okay, I'll go 3 then.
Game resumed.
Okay, so you're just kind of pushing creep. Oh,
Yeah, I wasn't looking.
yeah, so like, right there, what is that? What does pushing creep and going on creep there accomplish for you? It doesn't, for your game plan, it doesn't really accomplish anything, right?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah,
If-
so that's...
If
So
I was
we-
dropping, or if I was dropping his 4th at the same time, then it's still doing my game plan because I'm keeping him there.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's safe to say that that was a wrong move, and we know why it was a wrong move as well. It's not like a in hindsight thing like, oh, he had units there, I guess that was a wrong move.
Yeah.
It was a, like, even before it happened, you're like, well, what is this really accomplishing clearing the creep over here?
Yeah, it's just a single move that maybe it's okay to clear creep. That's always nice, but it's not putting me ahead in the game at all. It's just putting me at risk.
Yes, it's not accomplishing anything beneficial to you,
Hmm.
or to your game plan.
Game resumed.
Okay, well, your 2-2 timing's done now, so I'm not sure if you noticed that or not. Like, you're attacking now because your 2-2's done.
I usually do. When I
Okay, so
hear
this-
upgrade complete, I look at my engineering bays and then
Game resumed.
Gotcha. So
Game
basically,
paused.
you pretty much win at the 2-2 timing here.
yeah.
But all the fights before that, you were on 1-1 versus his 1-1.
Hmm.
But like as soon as you got to 2-2, all of a sudden you could take your advantage and turn it into a win, basically.
Yeah. It just like right when I got it, I just like started engaging and world of difference. Like not even close.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I was saying a little bit earlier about how that's your optimal timing to hit 2-2 when he's still on 1-1 and then end the game that way. Like
Mhm.
even if no damage had gone on and you had like, I don't know, like the 50-ish supply that you lost and you were at 200 and he's at like 180, or even if he's at 200 and you're at 200, his macro is significantly better than you. If you're at 2-2 and he's at 1-1 and you guys have maxed out armies, you're going to win that fight unless you completely mess it up
Yeah.
100% of the time.
Okay.
And so that's kind of like I guess the safest move to do. Because
Okay.
even if you do mess up, then you still have that double upgrade advantage, which is just so huge with every single upgraded unit that you have versus his.
Does it make a difference on Baneling hits? Does it take one more Baneling hit, or is it just like They
I
just
don't think so. I think it's just it kills banelings quicker.
yeah, that's what I thought. Combat Shield was the one that did the extra Baneling hit. Okay, yeah, I think it's just the extra damage output makes it so I think it's like one less marine attack per unit, and that makes it that's a huge difference. Um, okay, yeah, so only attack. I only want to do a push like this when I have an upgrade lead or when my 2-2 hits, like right when it hits though. Don't like. What if they have 2-2 and I have 2-2? Do I want to wait for 3-3?
Yes, then in this case, your game plan, you wouldn't attack like this. This is only a move you would do if you're ahead. But if it was an even game and you both had 2-2, then you would just kind of stay off creep still. You get that positioning there or wherever his creep is, and you still just send out the drops and do damage, or try to do damage and keep him at bay until your 3-3 is done. Because even though you guys might be even, it's going to be next to impossible for his 3-3 to finish exactly when your 3-3 finishes, simply because he needs the infestation pit and the hive to get it, whereas you don't.
Mm-hmm. And I already
So his
have
3-3 is miles more expensive to get than yours,
Okay, awesome.
and takes a lot more time as well.
And when I'm ahead like I was and I push out with 2-2, um, that doesn't really apply to the game plan though. Like, is it that just doing that, this will win the game? Like, that's...
It still applies to the game plan where you want to stay up in bases and economy, because you should technically be pushing where his fourth base is, or where a base is. Like, if you had a base there and you were pushing, that's great. Generally,
Oh.
on this map, you cannot push this base.
Mm-hmm.
You would, if he took like these two bases and he didn't have this base, you always push this base, but if he doesn't have that base, then you break down the rocks and then go to his third.
Okay, so
So
pushes
you
like
always want to
this.
be pushing a base. This is just pushing for some creep, which is, like, he doesn't even have to fight here. He could just wait for more army even.
Mhm.
Or do a counterattack or something and still wait. There's no reason to push here. So that's a good catch actually. So that's actually just a positional error.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, so it's just like that's all about location and the fact that that push is kind of like it doesn't apply to my game plan because I didn't have a game plan at this time. But if I had the game plan, I would have pushed somewhere where it would have hurt his economy or would have put me at some kind of economic advantage.
Yes. So like another thing you could have done potentially is to push here and then drop right into his main. So like secure this area.
So that
and
would
then I have
that would
vision.
apply to my game plan because it is a base and I'm forcing him
Exactly.
out and I have the potential to kill some economy.
Exactly.
Okay, and would killing Spire, Baneling Nest, Spawning Pool apply to that? I don't think that would really apply to my game plan, but it's just nice to have, right?
You obviously want to go for drones first. That's your first priority. This is different. This is kind of a different thing though. This has to do with your I guess micro. The priority that you want to kill stuff is the weakest things. So drones and then queen, and then depending on how much time you have, you can possibly get away with a spawning pool or spire, and then even a layer if you can do it fast enough. But that's a very tall order.
Yeah, get the guaranteed damage before the hard
Yeah,
one.
exactly. So that killing the spot, doing something like targeting a spire down. Yeah, if you have drones there and you're killing the spire instead, then that's a mistake. Unless you're specifically doing it like maybe you want to kill the spawning pool because you know you have 2-2 and he has 1-1. So then not having the spawning pool makes your pushes even stronger.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, so like it'll be next to impossible for him to hold a base
hmm
when he has no spawning pool.
Okay, and that applies to the game plan because I'm going to be pushing at the base.
Yep.
And what do you think about like if I have a double drop, focusing a queen then the drones? Like I don't because
That's okay too, because technically a queen costs money, so it's taking a cost efficient. It's just picking something off, but more importantly, it's very important to pick off queens because they inject.
yeah.
they're part of macro. So you're essentially supply blocking the Zerg, or you're limiting his macro. So and that impacts staying up in bases and staying up economy. He can't drone up as hard. He can't make as many units to defend. He doesn't have a transfuse potentially to do something with it.
Transfuse a drone.
Yeah.
Just okay. Yeah, I just like what priority wise, would you rather kill drones first or snipe a
I'd
queen quickly?
probably
Then?
kill a queen first because queens and drones are pretty fast. You only have a chance to kill either like a couple drones or a queen if he has good reaction time.
Mm-hmm.
So killing the queen is good because it puts a delay on his larva injects, which are very important.
Okay, cool.
And then going for the drones, I guess. But either or, like if the queen's kind of far away and the drones are right there,
Go for the
just stutter
closest
step the
thing.
drones into the and then go for the queen before you go or something like that. It's really situational though.
Okay, awesome.
But see how everything's kind of a lot more straightforward once you have a game plan.
Yeah, every move has a reason. It's
Yeah.
not just I'm moving out because blah blah. Because I
Yeah,
feel
and
like
now
it.
you don't feel like you're just doing random stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's take a look at another replay. Do you want to do? We can either do another TVZ replay or do a different matchup. For
Um,
TVZ, if we do that, then what I would have you do is to identify areas that wouldn't, like identify move outs and stuff that wouldn't necessarily go with a game plan.
I think this is a good one. I think this is. I just don't know what went wrong. Like, yes, my macro sloppy gets supply blocked. I take a late third, but I like to hear from you.
Okay.
Because like
This is a game you lost?
yes, and I looked at the replay and stuff, and I saw like macro sloppy. I could have had more units, but I think it's just a matter of when I moved out. It wasn't like there was no reason to. Like, I don't know.
Probably. That's what happens to me sometimes, where you just move out and it's just, oh, why did I move out? If I,
Yeah.
you're
It's
basically
tough.
like putting a needle into your, or putting a sword into your chest. You're doing it for your opponent when you're moving out at a wrong time.
Hmm.
SCV ready.
Additional supply depots.
Can you do X8?
SCV ready.
You're the host. Oh,
No,
okay, my
like,
computer.
handle it.
Usually, depends on, like, well, I'm recording this and streaming this so I can watch it over and take notes because, like, I'm not gonna remember everything.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I can, as long as there's not like a huge fight going on, times 8's fine.
Add on.
Okay. Oh, this looks like, oh, you only made one Reaper though? Or
Yeah.
no, they died.
Yeah, they died.
Okay. But this is probably, oh no, you have a starport, so this is not the build. We still have to identify the build opener that you're gonna do as well
Okay, I'll
after this game.
yeah.
SCV ready.
So I moved those Hellions there because I thought he ran his lanes around.
Add on. Complete. Game paused.
You need to check for a third base. Well, he went for a fast spire. He also doesn't have a crawler, so this guy's playing extremely greedy. Oh, I guess it's no. He doesn't even see a third CC. His Overlord scouting's really bad, so I guess it's just bad play by him.
Hmm.
So let's think.
Game resumed.
That's fine. That's fine with your Hellions chasing the Lings as long as you don't need them for anything else.
This happens, and I think this loses me or one of the major things that lost me the game.
Oh yes, that's.
Game paused.
If this happens to you and you can still trade for like all of the Lings, then you're in an okay spot. But this is very bad.
Then I lost the Banshee too.
And then your barracks are also extremely late as well.
That happens to me all the time, so I need to fix that.
Game
So
paused.
let's just watch the rest of this game. But I don't think there's
Base is under
really much to
attack.
say, and I'll say why after we finish watching the game.
Okay.
I don't even make a siege tank because you're scared.
Yeah, I'm really scared. I was just like, I think because he was GM, like I face GMs like 1 out of every 10 games or so. But like whenever I face him, I don't play as well for some reason, or it feels like I don't play as well.
Well, it's also part of not having a game plan as well, because GM players generally will have a very straightforward game plan, or even if they don't have a game plan, they will have some sort of game plan established up to the point where they start freestyling, and that's why they're only low GM instead of high GM, is how far and how detailed their game plan is, and then how well they can execute it as well.
Okay.
Like this guy's game plan, he's
Game
technically
paused.
staying ahead in bases, staying ahead in economy. But as a Zerg player, you're kind of programmed to take a 4th base. You're not going to just stay on 3 bases, so it's kind of straightforward. But from here, does he make more Mutalisks? Does he make a faster Hive? I guess he's going for more Mutas, and he's going to stay on the layer tech and try to go mass Mutas. But then if he was doing that, then he would try to go for a lot of counterattacks, run-bys, and just try to take a lot of small engagements, because there is a clock ticking if you go mass mutas and stay on the layer tech, because then you're going to have 3-3, and all of a sudden your opponent's, or your opponent's going to have 3-3, and you're only going to have 2-2 as a Zerg player. So by not doing that or having any intention of doing that, that leads me to believe that he was just making Mutalisks because it felt like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Which is a big no-no. Oh, and then of course he has Infestation Pit. I don't know what he's doing. Okay, yeah, this is so dangerous.
Yeah. I was just like, I gotta do something, like...
Game resumed.
Well, okay,
Game
so
paused.
yeah, we can both agree that you moved out. You were pretty much right at the beginning when you said that you shouldn't have moved out. So what would you have done differently now that you have a game plan? I guess you also lost a lot of SCVs too that you didn't really replenish.
Yeah, that's another one of my problems, macro mistakes. I have a lot of leaks. They're not all horrible, but it's just, they add up.
Yeah, this definitely is adding up.
But with a game plan now, I would have sent Marines to clear Overlords and maybe clear this creep, so I could drop in the main and then drop in the 4th again. Or at least move to the 4th and just try to kill economy and, yeah, like not directly engage him right now because I know he's ahead army to army. And try to kill economy.
So the problem with that is that this is where you start to develop map-specific things, and on Iron Fortress, it is not a very friendly map to drop into the main. Not only because the minerals are so damn far away, but also because there's also airspace that you can put overlords. The creep spread's usually going to be there. It's pretty unplausible for Zerg not to have it there. There's just going to be way too many counters to seeing a drop in your main that it'll be cleaned up very, very easily and dealt with before it even is a distraction.
Okay.
The Zerg's just going to be like, oh, there's free units coming my way. Not that, oh, he's dropping into my main, I have to react. So that's a map-specific thing. Coda isn't a bad map to do it on because it's somewhat easier to drop into the main than it is on Iron Fortress.
Then would you, like, the only thing I would say, then position my army around here to put pressure on his 4th and not be on creep. But then there's also the potential to counterattack and just kill my 3rd, just dead. Like,
yes. So, positionally speaking, there's not much you can do with an inferior army. Probably the 2 most important things you should have done, assuming you have full saturation at your 3rd, and you would have been able to afford it if you did have 14 more SCVs there. It would have been to make sure the creep does not spread past here. Well, first establish which 4th base you're going to take. This is the generally accepted 4th base to take. This is pretty far out, very hard to defend.
yeah, I usually take I go one, and then the one further away from the opponent, which was this one, and then this one.
Yeah, that's usually what you should do. So, attacking, or, so, the game plan is to stay ahead in bases, stay ahead in economy. Or in this case, stay even in bases, stay even in economy, because it is the Zerg player. So, the biggest part, or the most important thing for you, economy-wise, is to take a 4th base.
Okay.
So, because then if the Zerg has 4 bases and you have 4 bases, all of a sudden the Zerg's 4 bases doesn't seem that scary anymore.
Yeah, and he has to attack into me.
Yes. So, starting a 4th base would have been very important. And now we know that, like, now that you want to establish a 4th base, because it's the biggest thing you can do to follow your game plan, the next steps are all kind of straightforward. So, like, you want to kind of delay the creep from going past where it is right now so that you have some room for your 4th base. And then now, all of a sudden, your drops buy time for that 4th base to go up.
Oh,
And
that's really a really good idea. Just buying time to get my economy up. That's another reason to drop and be aggressive.
Yeah. And then also, you're going to be looking to deny the Zerg's 5th base now. So, if you're already clearing creep over here and keeping the creep low, it's going to be a small pushing distance if the Zerg takes the 5th base over there, that close base. If the Zerg takes the 5th base over here, over here, over here, it's very easy to drop. So, I guess, like, as long as you incorporate those bases into your drop pattern, and they fly over it to scout if he's taking a 5th base, or where it is, then you'll be able to shut it down fairly quickly.
Okay, cool.
So, like, all of a sudden in these positions, even if you're in a bad spot, if you can get up to, like, a decent-sized army and you're not completely dead yet...
If you take a good trade, you can get back in.
Well, yes, but you cannot take a good trade just yet. You have to get your 4th base up first, your 3/3 upgrades, and deny his 5th base. Then you want to take a trade. Because then it's 4 bases versus 4 base, and all of a sudden you traded, you might have lost the fight, but you can remax, and he can't remax nearly as fast.
Game
Alright.
resumed.
Oh,
Game
but...
paused.
Okay, so that was kind of like when you died, but the very, very first thing... So, another important thing, I don't remember if Day9 goes over in the daily or not.
Game
I think it's
paused.
actually a podcast. It's, you want to, when you're looking at a game and you lost and you're trying to figure out things to improve, you only want to find one thing to improve, and you want to make it the smallest possible thing that you can change. So just one thing. So in this game, if I was you and I was taking a look at it, like blah 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 blah, things are going on, you're following your game plan or your supposed game plan. So the one thing that you would want to do differently in this game, like, and you can completely disregard everything else that happens, because I'll show you why in a little bit. Alright, you got your 6 Hellions. So here, it's when your Hellions go over here. That is a big no. There's absolutely no reason to stay there and
Game paused.
fire shots at it.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
It's like, okay, you're gonna take it down for sure, buddy.
Game
Okay, so this is the one thing that you want to change in the game, that you want to take away if you were doing the same build again. It's to not have your Hellions firing multiple shots at the 3rd base. More importantly, your Hellions not being out of position. Because if your game plan is to stay ahead in bases, stay ahead of economy, if you see a 3rd base that late, it's either a Roach Bane All-In or it's a fast layer. And your Banshee Scout, it's a fast layer. So you know it's not a Roach Bane All-In. And the Banshee helps against Roach Bane All-Ins anyways. But more importantly, you know that it's 2 bases versus 2 bases, so you don't actually have to even do any damage. You just want to take your third base, and you're in a good spot.
Okay.
So, if that's the case, you would want your Hellions way over here defending your third base.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah.
That's
I think
and
that's a good
see
idea.
how that's like one change, and it's the smallest change possible as well.
Yeah.
You change absolutely nothing about what you were doing except for the positioning of the army.
And then I can afford to take my third earlier. Also,
Yes. And maintain that economic advantage by
and
doing
and I wouldn't have lost the Hellions.
yeah. And so what happens when you lose the Hellions, like all of a sudden you're like now everything that happens afterwards is a decision made on the fact that you lost those Hellions and can no longer be applied because are you trying to now practice what happens after you lose all your Hellions? Like, so are you assuming you're going to lose them again? No, because they're going to stay over here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not something that you want to practice a situation like anything after this. You don't want to really try to take away from it because you're not really. This is playing with you just lost your 6 Hellions on purpose or not on purpose, and you're not losing your 6 Hellions on purpose every game like this.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Yeah, that was just a fuck up, and
It's important to know why that was a fuck up and what to do better though. And so that's the one small thing, and more importantly, it's just one thing that you want to change because everything else applies to what happens after you lose your Hellions.
mm-hmm. And that's the major thing that puts me behind in that game because take my third later because of it. I can't do any damage to economy or kill any lings with the Hellions. So
Yes.
it
But even
affects
though
my
you-
game plan. Like it puts me behind on it.
Yeah. But even though you did lose those 6 Hellions, that's pretty much a game ender. But this guy was bad and he let the game go on. And when that stuff happens, so that's why you always want to stay cool. Like you lost your Hellions, that's cool, but you're still in the game and still you still want to believe you can win. So we still watched the game and we got to the point where like you had that big army over here, and if you took your 4th base, if you denied the creep over here, and if you denied his 5th base, you still would have been able to win the game. Like you still had pieces on the chessboard that you could have used to win the game by this is pretty much what it's called to outplay your opponent. To be behind in this kind of a situation, but still being able to stick to your game plan and doing stuff that applies to it better than your opponent. Like your opponent, he didn't really have a game plan. So even though he killed all those lings, he makes the Spire, he makes a bunch of Mutalisks, he gets a 4th base, then he gets an Infestation Pit. It's kind of wishy-washy. He didn't take a 5th base. There was no timing to try to kill you before the game went too late. There was no staying on layer specifically. He was kind of freestyling it as well. And so, when a person is doing this, if you have a game plan and you're following it and he's not, you're going to win in the later stages pretty much all the time. Because it just gets to the point where it becomes a checkmate, and there's like no longer anything he can do that he can think of right away that's going to kill you.
Yeah. Alright.
Alright, so is there another TVZ replay you have right now before we move on to the next matchup? I want to take a look at your TVP.
Okay. I've been having trouble with late game TVP, so.
In TVT we established kind of already, right?
Yeah. Well, basically the same game plan.
I also have a TVT game, Biotank versus Biotank as well. We can go over later, but I want to get to TVP right now.
What about the build in TVZ?
Yes, that is important. So You want to do triple Reaper into 6 Hellions, 3 CC, and just a standard bio game, right?
Yes. And I'm looking for the build right now. 3 Reaper, 6 Hellions, engineering bays before the extra barracks to get fast upgrades.
It's a little bit of a outdated build, not because it's bad, but because of just the current map pool and metagame. 3CC builds currently aren't very popular right now.
Mm-hmm.
But at your level, it's okay. You can still make it to High Grandmaster by doing just this build very easily, before you have to switch it up.
And once I get to High Grandmaster, my mechanics are there to where I can do other builds.
Yeah, and where you will want other builds, because you'll be in a position where you're playing best of X's, you want to do different builds, switch it up,
Mm-hmm.
blah, 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 blah. But that's neither here nor there. The Triple Reaper build, let me think. Because the best way that I figure out builds is I go against the computer. Like, just today, I was learning Innovation's Reaper into Widowmine drop build. I played against the computer for about an hour and a half, just refining the build to the point where I was really comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
Before I started the coaching thing. If you can find the most ideal thing you can do, like, this is not ideal, it takes a lot of time, and it's somewhat boring as well. Yeah, you have to stay very focused playing against a computer to memorize the timings. But if you can find a VOD and copy the build order, that will save you a lot of time in learning the exact build.
Well,
If not, I could probably play against the computer and get a mock-up for you of some rough timings that you can follow, which will probably be good enough.
Mm-hmm. Here, I'm going to spawning tool right now, looking up all pro replays that are Reaper expand, and I'll look for a triple Reaper game. And what player do you think executes the 3 Reaper the best build?
See, that's the thing. I haven't seen it for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Especially not going Starport afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, the games that I remember are back on King Sejong Station.
Yeah, I remember this. I just don't want to go Banshee every game because that's so predictable. Although
Well,
predictable doesn't
why don't
matter.
why don't I show you the Widowmine drop that I've been doing? Because it's pretty similar. You just, instead of going triple Reaper, you just go 1 Reaper. And then you can
in
throw
TVZ?
Yeah.
I tried that a couple of times. It's cool, but I don't know, like I feel like the standard 3 Reaper, I like that.
Basically, you pretty much want to choose something that you like to play, not that seems good. Because if you don't like to play it, then it's going to be a problem.
I did Widowmine drops in TVP for like 6 months straight, and I recently just switched into 3 racks, concussive shell timing and stuff. And like I don't do Widowmine drops in any matchup right now. So I don't know if I like did it too much to the point where I don't like it anymore, or it just seems so hit or miss.
Well, the purpose of this build, the Widowmine drops are not there to do damage. You only make 2 Widowmines. You still have 4 Hellions, and so your medevac drop is 2 Widowmines and 4 Marines. You only go in and do damage if you see your opponent has absolutely 0 defense there. But if he has units in position, then you just back out and you start sniping overlords and you play standard. Because the follow-up, one of the cool things about having a fast starport is it allows you to get very fast medevacs. So you have 2 medevacs and about 14 stim marines by the 10-minute mark, which is extremely fast.
Is it 3cc?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that build. I like that idea. Getting early Like the Widowmine drop isn't. You're not relying on a Widowmine drop. I just got so bored of Widowmine dropping in TVP. Like it's either one game I lose the starport because he opened, or not the starport, lose the medevac because he opened this. Another game I kill 20 probes because he opened this. It's like it feels gimmicky.
Okay. Okay, well this is good then because I have some examples. Okay, that's not fun.
But Widowmine, like I do like dropping in TVZ. So like not rely. I feel like a Widowmine drop is fine, and it has 4 Marines in it with it, correct?
Yes.
All right, yeah, that's fine.
It's not just a 100% Widowmine drop.
Yeah.
Did this work? Okay, so here's the build order. At least you have it. That's pretty cool. Spawning tool does that.
Yeah.
Here's the build order. Here is a VOD of Innovation doing it on the same map. I literally do it. I have the exact same patterns of him up until the first 2 medevacs because then the game starts to go different. But then here is also, is this the game? No, that's the wrong game. But Innovation also does. No, he doesn't do it versus Beal. Never mind. But he also does it versus Sue on Iron Fortress. I don't have the game off the top of my head. It's in the finals though at IEM Gamescon. He does the same build, but that's when he first started doing it, and so it's a little bit different.
You're gonna love this. Okay, so event IEM Gamescon, Innovation versus Sue.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some water. I'll be right back.
All right. He doesn't know that that I own spawning tool, that me and another guy run spawning tool. This is actually really helping me a lot, just getting a game plan. Like, of course, like my macro is not gonna increase like a ton right away, but just getting a game plan and having a reason for doing all of my moves.
All right, I'm back.
Another cool spawning tool thing. Click that link.
Okay, interesting.
You can find your replay there that you were looking for.
It's the Innovation versus Sue game on Iron Fortress. Well, I had it, but I didn't. I was too lazy to. I didn't want to look up the replay pack or the VOD link. But that's the other game that I was referring to, and the games are a little bit different. They're played both on Iron Fortress, but the one versus Sue was the first one that Innovation did. And the one versus Curious was what he did. Was it? Okay, it was played on August 9th.
What were the differences between the two builds?
Let's see. I just watched it. I skimmed it actually because I saw it was different. Unit positioning.
Oh, so it's not a different build, it's a different game plan.
It's the same build. There's small refinements. Basically, the biggest difference in the build order itself is the execution and the fact that Innovation goes for a Viking, whereas versus Curious he no longer goes for the Viking for whatever reason.
Would if you see 2 overlords or you scout 2 overlord positions, do you think it's a good decision to change and build a Viking in certain games versus another if you know 2 overlord positions at least?
No, because it messes up your build. You don't have enough money.
Okay.
To afford the Viking and everything else. So he cut out the Viking in favor of a larger or a stronger medevac timing, essentially.
And yeah, okay. And My bio, like in small amounts, my splitting is like pretty good, so I think that would like play to my strengths to have it.
Probably. He does a very against Curious, it's a very, very fast tempo push. And you can kind of see his game plan against Curious is to just kind of stay ahead in bases. And you'll notice when you watch the VOD that since he does do damage with the Widowmine, he's a lot more aggressive with his army, and he's always looking for more trades. Whereas, if you watch the second game on Coda, then you'll notice that he's not aggressive, but he still follows the game plan where he wants to stay up in bases and expos. So it's a pretty cool thing. You should definitely watch both of the games, but watching the first game is 100% necessary.
Okay, awesome.
And then this is the spawning tool thing that I linked you, is just me doing the build. Not sure if it'll help or not, but you have a replay of it. It's the same exact thing.
Mhm.
That's what I was working on today to get all the timings hammered out.
Do you want to watch this build?
What do you mean?
Like watch the replay and then explain like why.
Yeah, that works. Okay. Can you give me the? I think you have to give me host because I can't do a replay right now or something.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm the leader.
Well, we can use the Sue versus innovation game too, or do you want to use your versus AI so we can go over just the build?
Mine versus AI to just go over the build, I think, is better. Because otherwise we'd have to go... This versus Sue, it's very, very basic, and it's not very well refined, so I don't want to go over that game. The one versus Curious is a VOD, so we'd have to watch it and continuously pause it, and that's going to be a very big pain. This is the game or the build that I have, or that I'm going to show you, versus the AI is the one that he did versus Curious, and I'll be able to kind of explain it that way, I guess. It's just a lot more fluid with the replay, you know.
Versus Sue, does he go for the Viking? Yeah, he does. Okay. Yeah. That's why we're not going to be looking at that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, which one was it versus Curious? What tournament?
GSL.
Never mind.
The Group of Death with Innovation and Flash, Curious and Pig Baby.
Okay. No, those replays aren't out yet. All right.
Definitely.
Go.
Can you make me... Oh, there we go. So, this build is very, very precise. You have to... I would even recommend running it versus an AI a couple times just so you got it, because if you get supply blocked or if you mess up, you're going to be behind.
Mm-hmm.
Some specific things are... And like this is a build I'm going to be using for my own personal use. So this is kind of like what I do to learn a build, I guess. So on this map, this is just a little thing I do. Innovation. I don't think Innovation did it, but if you scout right here when your barracks is done, you can see an overlord coming from this direction. So
I do that. Yeah.
Okay, great. So like, and it times out perfectly, so you can do that, and you can do a mineral patch. You can go to the mineral patch, the SCV will take it to the main base, he'll go back to mine it, and right after he mines it, you'll have 400 minerals for the command center.
You refine this so fucking much, Jesus. Like, I guess that is like, that's what it takes to be like KRGM and stuff like little stuff like this.
Well, no, this is what it takes to be innovation level. You don't need this level of refinement for GM.
Wow.
Okay, and then the factory, it actually needs to go down. You want to send your SCV to build it at 100. You don't want to build it right away, otherwise your factory is just going to be there doing nothing. Because you build 4 Marines from your reactor, so if you build your factory too fast, then you want to build it like 116 to 120 gas on purpose to give enough time to get 4 Marines out.
Okay. Yeah, this is very similar to my TVP build right now.
Yeah. And then you don't get the tech lab. Like, all these timings are really specific, so when I get a depot at this timing, Innovation gets a depot at that timing, and you should get a depot at that timing.
Sounds
Game
good.
resumed.
So like right when you
Game
start Hellions
paused.
depot.
Yes,
Game
like your gas
resumed.
should go, or your minerals should go first do Hellions, SCV depot, then second gas.
First 2 Hellions, SCV, depot, second gas. Okay.
If you have the build order thing, let's see if the spawning pool thing. Yeah, it has solid timings you can work off of, but I definitely recommend trying it against an AI and getting comfortable with it before you actually use it on ladder. Otherwise, it'll be a lot harder than it should be.
Yeah, and then some variation will happen where I get all in and I don't actually learn the build at all.
Yeah. Or you get supply blocked or something, and then all of a sudden your medevac timing is off, or your Widow Mine drop is slower, or blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the things that you have to hit really crisply are getting your first medevac out right before 7 minutes, and getting your first 2 medevacs out right before 10 minutes. If you get supply blocked before then, you're going to have less Marines, or your medevacs are going to be late. And if you get supply blocked, your first medevac push with the 2 Widow Mines is also going to be late as well. Those are the 2 things that you cannot mess up on.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, your timing is going to be compromised. The unit positioning I haven't figured out yet because I just started this build. I'm just going over the build itself. So you only want to start your tech lab after you start your medevac.
Oh, why is that? To say
For
you
the
get the
gas, you don't have
Oh.
enough gas. Your second gas doesn't actually kick in until after your medevac and 2 Widow Mines start.
Okay.
And then you have exactly enough for stim and a Marine as well.
Ready for dust off.
So the medevac's out, you take your drop. The medevac should be out at like 6:56, 6:55.
Game resumed.
Ready.
Game
Mine's out
paused.
like 2 seconds late, but that's because I didn't stack SCVs this game.
That type of stuff. Jeez, that is detail.
That's really where it starts to add up. But like just aim for 7 minutes, I guess. It's easy to remember.
All right. You're like, oh, I didn't stack SCVs. I'm 2 seconds late.
Like, please forgive me for my sloppiness.
I'm like, mate, I'm just working on winning games right now. So,
For dust
Game
off.
resumed.
So-
in your opinion, is it smarter to put the
Game
Widow
paused.
Mines or put the Marines in the medevac first? Because
Probably Widow Mines.
That's
I
what-
just
that's
do
how I always
whatever
do.
right now, but Widow Mines. Then you don't have to like manually click them. You can just press D on the medevac.
yes.
And then what I do to burrow them, so the medevac's moving, you press D, the first 2 Widow Mines come out and they're a little bit spaced apart. The best way to use or to like burrow them is to click the first Widow Mine, then control click the first Widow Mine after the second one comes out, and then press E again, or whatever it is to burrow.
Wait, like when both of them get out? Like, or
So
burrow
the
them?
the first Widow Mine drops out, you press the burrow hotkey. I think it's E.
Yes.
I'm just gonna say it's E. So it comes out, you press E, the second Widow Mine comes out, you stay selected on the first Widow Mine, and you press E. Or you press Control and then you press E. Because the control clicks the second Widow Mine,
Mm-hmm.
it like
Everything on
gets it into
screen.
the selection. Yeah, and then you click the burrow, and then it burrows. So you don't have to like box and then click it.
That's really good because there's been some times where like I accidentally don't select it and like the drop goes horribly wrong. Like,
Yeah.
that's a really good
Game
idea.
resumed. Game paused. Game
Oh, I might
resumed.
have to make a useful facts thing to combat Fear Dragons thing.
Yeah, that
Oh,
actually
I'm
is.
actually-
Game paused.
That actually might be a good thing to share with people.
Yeah. No, you should definitely do useful facts, Fili. That you'll get a lot of Reddit karma from that.
It's not about red karma, it's personal with Fear Dragon now. Now that I met him in real life,
Game resumed.
and what kind of a troll he really is.
Yeah. But
Okay, so-
you know it's also about that karma. Everybody wants that karma.
Yeah, it's nice to have. It's worth nothing.
You know those internet points to flaunt.
Alright, so the next thing, the third command center goes at the wall. That's very important.
Okay.
You also don't want to overbuild depots right now as well. See how I'm at 58 out of 62? I build my next depot right after I build my third racks. But if you build your depot before the 2 racks,
Delays everything.
yeah, the racks are just delayed.
Game resumed.
And then the eBays start at about the 8-minute mark. I guess like 8:05-ish. And then you want to build your reactor on the start port, and then add on the 2 gas.
Game resumed.
Okay.
Actually, I think the 2 gas comes a bit later. Okay, there's the reactor. Oh, and then the 2 gas. Yeah, it's
Add on.
in that order. And then the upgrades start, and then now you have the barracks is done, and then basically the timing that you want to hit is your medevacs come out right before the 10-minute mark, and you have almost 16 Marines. You're not going to have 2 full medevacs. You're going to have like 1.5 if you do it right.
But if you do save any units from the first drop, you're going to have 3 medevacs and some extra units.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be saving it, I don't think. I think you need to sack it on purpose to check his unit composition eventually.
Well, if there's a
depending on
chance to save it, like if you drop, you get some damage, and then you kill some drones, and then he runs over.
You should. Well, there's times to save it, but you should ultimately sack it eventually after you find an opening. So, like, let's say you first boost in, like right at the very start, the medevac pops out. You put your units in. You go to his main base. Then you see he has units there. You're not going to drop and sack him there. So you kind of like circle around to his third base, or just like out of range. So like, let's say he has like 3 bases here. You drop, or 3 bases here, and you drop to the natural, he has nothing, or he has defenses, I mean, then you kind of circle around here, and then drop into the main, and you pick off any overlords that you see as well.
Okay.
Something like that. But that's a lot more advanced, and that's not something that you can really practice against the computer. This is just to go over the build itself.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, when in the first drop, he doesn't have much anti-air besides a queen. So, like, I feel like you can almost definitely save that medevac for a further push or a further drop.
Oh, definitely. You definitely want to try to save the medevac. It's not always going to happen, though, because good target fire on the queens, taking 1 too many hits against spore crawlers.
Mm-hmm.
Queens do have a very large range, so even though they are slow, they do a good job at zoning the medevac out. So you might not always if you can keep it alive, great. If you cannot, then it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, just like don't get tilted over losing the medevac because it's not a requirement.
Yeah, and remember the game plan is just to stay ahead in expos and economy.
Yeah, so any other things that happen don't apply as long as I'm meeting my game plan.
They do apply, like you might take a bad engagement, or like he might do a bunch of SCV damage, but you just still want to stick to your game plan. So the things that happen are not, it's not that they don't apply, it's that they aren't significant.
And what is your opinion on delaying that double drop for 2 more seconds to get those extra 4 Marines in?
No, you want to do it as fast as possible.
Okay, so hitting at
and this
the
isn't
fastest possible second.
Like,
okay.
It's not always going to be guaranteed. Like, I might have done the build, I might have been a bit too greedy or something, and got too many Marines out. And so, yeah, as soon as your medevacs come out, you load up whatever Marines you have. You should have about, like, 12-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just go straight and then do damage. And then whatever happens, then it's kind of, it depends what's going on. But it really shouldn't be that important what happens, as long as you have the game plan of staying ahead in expos and staying ahead in economy. That way, everything else is kind of more or less straightforward. Like, I'm not telling you specifically what you should do with the first 2 medevacs. That's up for you to decide right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then after you do this build against a real Zerg player and we get an actual example, then that's when you actually change. Okay, do I want to drop to his third? Do I want to drop to his main instead? Do I want to do this against 2 base muta or versus 3 base muta? But that's for later.
Okay, and in your opinion, is it better to keep the drops together to be like pressure and micro and split?
Yes,
okay,
yes. 100%.
because I feel like sending them to different places. One might get picked off, like, and the having 2 medevacs and almost 16 Marines is like 3 times as good as having 6 Marines here and 8 Marines
Yes,
there.
for sure, for sure.
All right, awesome.
I'm trying to think. Getting supply blocked here, big whatever. But I ran out of time. I had to eat something before we did this. So essentially, that's like, if you can get to those first 2 medevacs, you're good, okay? Like, that's all you want to do. And then you get the 2 barracks up, you get the armory up, you get 3rd base down, you get 2nd factory, then 3 more barracks.
Okay, and what time does the 3rd base land with this build? Like 10 minutes?
You should lift it off about the time. Let's see when I lifted it off.
And as long as I can just get to those medevacs, just macro from there on.
Yeah, it's all about just macroing and sticking to your game plan. And if you do those 2 things, you can pretty much win. And then after that, it's just a point of refinement to beat significantly better players with the build. Because if Innovation can beat a GSL champion with this build, then it's a good build. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I guess it should land at about
Additional supply depot.
this time.
So lifted around 9:40.
Yeah, like as soon as the orbital's done.
All right. Oh yeah, because it lines up. Like when you go 3cc Reaper, the command center's done for like a minute before you lift it at least. Like
Yeah, but the command center here is a little bit later, so you just lift it off immediately.
that's really good. And then like your natural saturated right when it finishes if you're playing perfect almost.
Yeah.
So this build lines up really well.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's literally, you have to, if you get supply blocked,
You're
or
fucked.
make an extra depot, then it's not going to line up as perfectly.
Yeah. Okay. And then just right when the medevacs come out, start 2 supply depots, I guess. Or right before they come out, start 2 supply depots. Would that be smart?
Let's see. What did I do wrong here?
Game closed.
So yeah, I think supply depots when the medevacs are like half done.
The second 2 medevacs, I should have delayed those and made another depot and an armory instead. Because you don't need them right away, you're not going to have any units to begin with. To like send the... You're going to have 3rd and 4th medevac and you're not actually going to have any units for them. So yeah, that's the
Oh, don't delay the first 2 with the second 2.
Yes. For a little bit. So
Yeah,
you don't
like-
have to make
like
it
10
continuous,
seconds.
But when you have the
Yeah.
money, then yeah.
All right, and then then that lines up well for the 2-2
Then-
also.
Yeah, I can build my armory on time, and I can continue marine production as well, build the widow mines, and then build medevacs.
Okay, and then if the medevacs will come out right when the widow mines are done. All right, and continuing building widow mines and stuff, it's kind of like more just bioplay. Yeah. Okay. No.
Yeah, this is essentially a standard bioplay now. You got your 5 barracks, you got widow mines making, you got your double upgrades, your 3rd base. It's pretty standard from here.
Okay, and I'm kind of doing that thing that you said not to do when I'm like, how would I react if this happened? But Ling floods, like, when do they usually hit? Like,
It depends. It's too hard to say
Yeah,
exactly.
true. What is your reaction if you see a Ling flood coming and your first drop, the Widowmine one, is halfway? Do you boost it back or boost it in to their base?
Probably boost it in.
I would like kind of trade.
Again, it depends where it is and how fast you see it. If it's right outside of your base, you can boost it back. Well, I don't think you should even boost it back. You should probably be safe against it simply because you have 4 Hellions. You can go, if it's just a Ling flood, you just go up with your 4 Hellions up to the main ramp. You keep 1 depot open and 1 closed.
And then
you just kind of create a choke over there.
Line 'em
and
up,
run your
yeah.
SCVs there, and then problem solved.
and what if Banelin bust? Just defend it the best I can.
Same thing, except just evacuate, and then probably do the counterattack.
Mm-hmm.
Again, those are really specific examples that require specific reactions that we simply do not have until we play the game and have an example of that. However, just to keep in mind, if you do get that kind of a game and you are stuck on what to do, always remember what's the smallest possible thing that you can do, and just pick one adjustment that you can do to change the game. And it can't be like, I won't get supply blocked here, or something like that. It has to be more general.
I'll be like, or like, if I do get supply blocked, I'll be like, the smallest possible change I can make to improve in that area right there would be to delay my third and fourth medevac, because I'm not going to have units for them, and build supply depots, and then whittle mines, and then medevacs. That would be the smallest possible change to fix the supply block and not like change the build at all. Because you're not...
No. You don't want to fix the supply block at all. You want to completely ignore it. If you do get supply blocked and you see that you are getting supply blocked, you want to ignore that, because you just want to fix one thing that applies to your game plan. And supply blocks happen to the best of us. It's impossible to not get supply blocked unless you really overmake depots.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more important to know, like, to pick something that happened that you can control. And by that, I mean something that is...
having unit at the watchtower, or...
Yeah. Like, the unit is going to be out already. How many you have and how fast you have them depends on how well you macro.
And what about, let's say, if I get Ling flooded one game and I almost hold it but barely lose, I could be like, okay, the smallest possible change that I can defend against this, that I can do every game that won't put me behind, would be building a bunker at my front. Like,
if it's just a Ling flood, the optimal response is not a bunker. It's just moving your 4 Hellions up onto the main part of the ramp.
Okay, well then like
and then creating a choke.
Some kind of all-in or something that I lose to. Then like a small change could be building a bunker there and then building the depot behind the mineral line instead of building 3 depots at the front right when I lift my third off or something. And I'm just trying to like think of examples of small changes that aren't just me like being like stupid or something, you know.
I'm just not we just can't do that until like we'll get into this next time after you've done these builds. Then we'll have actual examples, because at this point it's just theory crafting and we're just pissing into the wind at this point.
Okay. And I'm going to do a ton of TVZ practice. Like anytime any friend that is a Zergon, I'm just going to be only playing TVZ to refine this build, and then we can go over it, and then we can focus on the other matchups. Like, of course, I'm going to be following the same game plan in every matchup, but I'm going to be really focusing on TVZ and getting this build down.
Okay.
Just so I have example replays to show you that apply to our last coaching session. Like,
you know what? Actually, how about this? Instead of making changes for yourself, I think you should just play as many games as possible, and then the next time we do this, you'll have all these games that need like variations and stuff. Mm-hmm. And we'll go through that together to make sure your thought process is on point.
And then,
before you do it yourself.
Yeah, so you're teaching me to think in the right mindset.
Yes, I'm trying to teach you to do this on your own, basically.
Mm-hmm. And when the two medevacs hit, is combat shields done or almost done?
No, it's not done.
So just don't take Baneling hits.
Yeah, it's you just want to kind of, because it's fast enough so that only Mutalisks will be out, so you can kind of like pick off some Mutalisks. If it's a fast Muta timing, then you can't really do much damage. If it's more macro, you can trade for Lings and then pick up. But it really all depends. We'll talk about it more. It's do you have any questions about, I guess, the build order specifically though? Because you have the build order itself. You have some examples showing how the build is done, and now all you have to do is practice it. I want to make sure we do that, and I want to get to TVP so that we can do this. We can like get a build order established, and we can get game plan and stuff as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. What time do you add the 6th, 7th, and 8th racks when you get?
At about 150 supply, or around 13 minutes, I think. It's about 150 supply. Depending on how much you're trading, the timing is going to be different, but it's a supply thing, not a timing thing.
Seriously? Well, like, what about like based on like how saturated your third is?
Well, your third is going to be saturated before you add it 100%.
Oh,
Just to
okay.
be
So
like it's just assuming it's saturated. You should be saturated fairly fast.
so all of this is assuming, which I should be focusing or not focusing on, but which I should be improving in constant SCV production, constant unit production, and no supply blocks. And
Yes.
those are the timings. So
Or
if I,
very limited supply blocks to the point where they don't completely throw it off your game.
yeah, and then if it does change it a little bit, it's fine. But
For the most part, yeah. Like the reasoning behind getting it at 150 supply is because you don't want to make a full. It depends on how far. It depends. It depends on so many things. Like if you're really far ahead, it's okay, and you're trying to hit a 2-2 timing like that. For very first game we saw in Coda you played,
hmm
then it's okay to max out on Marines and Widow Mines. But if you're kind of in an even footing and you're going to have to look for a stronger army than just Marine Widow Mine, you want to cut your Marine production to add on the 3 barracks at about 150 supplies so that you can start Marauder production faster so that you can have Marauders in your army against the Banelings and Hive units as well. Because the first part of this kind of style is like Marines and Widow Mines. Well, the very first part is the 6 Hellions. In this case, it's 4, but it's the Hellions, then it's Marine Widow Mine, and then it's then you add in the Marauders and the Thors.
okay, how many on the 6th, 7th, and 8th barracks? Tech labs, reactors, or a mix?
2 tech labs, 1 reactor.
Okay, awesome. And when do I start Marauder production on the tech lab barracks when I'm in a 5 barracks?
When your 6th, 7th, and 8th barracks are done.
Oh, so you don't even start Marauder production until...
Yes, pure Marines until your Marauder's done because it takes up too much gas
Okay, then I've been
in an
doing stuff
optimal
wrong.
setting.
I've been doing stuff wrong for a while.
Yeah, it's not something that is really common knowledge until someone tells it to you, really.
Yeah, like this, like the things that I'm learning right now, like I'm not gonna remember everything, but that's why I'm recording it so I can literally go through this entire session and write down every important thing you said. So
Make sure you have like I guess guidelines because this is kind of lengthy, so that you know like when something goes wrong, you can look it up really quickly instead of like searching through half the VOD before you find the information.
hmm
Or I guess you can even just ask me as well.
yeah,
But hopefully, let's not get to the point where you don't remember anything and then you're asking me every single thing we just went over, you know?
well, yeah. But like, just like if I left right now, I wouldn't remember probably like 60% of it, just because that's just not like humanly possible usually. So like going over it again and recording it was something that like my first coach who got me to masters, he every time like every time he was helping me, he told me to stream it, and then I could watch it later if I had like if I wanted to remember something.
Yeah, that's very good that you got into that habit.
And streaming is fun anyway, so.
Cool.
But yeah.
Okay then, let's move on to TVP then.
Okay. What I've been doing lately is a 1 gas, one Reaper expand into 3 racks. Of course, 1 Reaper in TVP, but into 3
do you
racks.
do concussive shell push with it, or do you just play standard?
Concussive shell.
So
I really like concussive shell.
so we're gonna stick to concussive shell then.
Yes. And there's a build that I think I might have done. I think I played TV. I think I played standard on this one actually.
I actually have a concussive shell push that I do all the time, so I have good amount of replays on hand for it as well,
Awesome.
which is fortunate for you, I guess.
Can you promote me?
Oh yeah.
This game I think I play standard, but like I think we can just formulate a game plan overall first, and then we can look at a
Yes.
direct concussive shell.
Yeah.
Because this is a 14-minute game where I don't know what, like, I didn't really analyze it that much. I was just looking at replays quickly before the session, but I'm not really sure what went wrong.
So the first two things, or the first thing that we need to establish is what kind of a game plan do you want? Do you want to go for a Ghost Viking composition or Bio Widow Mine?
I like Bio Widowmine, but I end up dying so much to like Colossus all-ins and stuff when don't have Vikings. Like I don't know, like I find it so hard to hold those two base all-ins with let's say Blink +1 Colossus all-in.
Something's weird with the party. It's at 1 out of 2.
Yeah, it's at 2 out of 2 for me, but it's not going. I can reload.
All right. Well, I guess because there's answers on both sides, so it all comes down to which style you have more fun at, basically. Like, all in all things even, would you prefer, or which style would you like if all things were even? If you had the answers to each style and you were like a god, which one would you play?
I'd play Bio Widowmine.
All right.
I really like just watching some of Maru's engagements. Like I know I'm never gonna be able to pull stuff like that off consistently or anything, but just like I already play Bio Widowmine in TVZ, and I really like Widowmines because like sometimes you can get really lucky.
Yeah. Okay.
Like one time the guy forgot about a Widowmine, lost 6 Templars to 2 Widowmines. It's like
host me.
right. So it's like just stuff like that, and then being able to drop Widowmines randomly and just kill 20 probes, like in the mid game, late game, like on their 4th base or something, just dropping Widowmines. And I think you still transition into ghosts and stuff, but
Oh, what the fuck?
oh,
Oh, there we go.
it says you left.
No, we do not. Well, I'm here now. It says you left. I'm the host for some. Or no, I was the host.
Wait, I'm the host of this replay. You're the host of another. What is going on? All right, leave.
Okay, leave your game.
Yeah.
Let's screw the party. And then
Want me to start it up, then invite you, or oh, you have the replay. Yeah. Awesome.
okay, now make me host. I don't know why you're the host now.
Promote to lobby. Blizzard needs to get this shit together.
I don't like the Legacy of the Void interface. The chat's weird.
I don't like it
I
either.
can never like exit out of different stuff when I want to.
And in general, I just don't like Legacy right now.
Yeah, I hope they bring the mules back. That's very depressing.
Like the only reason Terran got what was like even in economy, but like they edit. I'm not gonna get into this right now. This is.
Yeah, it's don't want to get too sidetracked.
Yeah, this is like this talking about that stuff with other people, like people who thought that like, oh, Brood War didn't have macro mechanics, and I'm like, oh my god, the economy system was completely different, and I just get so tilted. But yeah, okay, StarCraft 2. So this is the build that I've been doing lately.
You don't need a wall off on 4-player maps. First of all, you should build your depot over here, close to your mineral line, and then your barracks not at the wall.
Okay.
There's no reason to wall off in this matchup on 4-player maps.
Upgrade complete.
Okay.
And do you think it's a good idea for me to engineering bay block on some
No,
games?
no.
Okay.
That's again, that's too big of a deviation to do or not to do, because if you're doing, we've already established that you're doing a concussive shell push. So if you're doing an engineering bay block, that's going to delay your push. So it's like a one or the other kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, that's another thing that I didn't know, that like you don't really know until someone tells you.
Yeah,
Add-on complete.
So I didn't check the natural here right away, which is a bad mistake on my part.
a little bit, yeah.
There we go.
But you see it, so you're good. Another thing is that we're gonna optimize your build a little bit, because
Okay.
I do a slightly different concussive shell push because I get my second barracks before my second depot.
Yeah,
It's
I've done that a couple times.
Upgrade.
It works, but then like I find when they do like the stalker, the like quick stalker pressure, I don't have the Marines out fast enough, or a mothership core rush, like where they like send it across the map right when it
Oh,
comes
that's
out.
just because you want Reaper expand, and you have to, and that's still it's still more helpful because you have the barracks faster,
True.
so you can make Marines
But then-
faster as well.
Then I'm supply blocked right when the reactor finishes. Maybe it's just me not SEV stacking, so I don't have the minerals to build the depot on.
I think it's you building, because you have to build. It's very specific. You build your command center on 17 Then you build your second racks on 17. Then you build the depot and then SCVs.
Oh, so you cut SCVs for like 10 seconds, or
Yeah, you have to do a small SCV cut.
okay, that makes sense.
Game resumed.
And then you can get the Marines out right away because you did cut SCVs.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, awesome. And right here, I tried to do something cheeky, where I hide the
Catching a
Marines.
stalker.
Yeah, it didn't work, but it almost did. Like,
That's alright, that's okay to do. Oh my god, why are you building 3 turrets though?
I saw Twilight.
You're not defending against cloak banshees though.
True. Yeah, you're right. I thought he was going for it, like the Robo drop DT thing. Like,
Alright, this is another thing where you thought he was doing something, in which case he's actually not, and so you're putting yourself behind by preparing for something that actually never was going to happen. So, in situations like this, if you have that urge to, like, oh, I think he's going to do this, you got this, like, feeling that he might be going DTs, just don't do anything, okay? I think if to win a game, I guess, sure, if you might win some games doing this, but for the most part, if we're looking at the long-term picture here, doing something like this does not help you at all. And in fact, it's one of those things where you're going sideways instead of forward.
yeah, okay. But how do you? Okay, with my scouting, I saw a Twilight.
Basically, you should know that
I should have scanned. I should have
No,
scanned.
no. The fastest possible timing for a fast expand Twilight DT is like 7:30-ish. So you don't need a turret. Or, you don't need 3 turrets, first of all. Getting 1 turret's okay if you start at like 7 minutes. Then the DT drop hits at like 8:30 if you're rushing it out off of this opener. So you don't even need these 2 extra turrets for another, what, like... it's 6:52 right now, so 7 minutes. You don't even need them for another whole minute. So you can start your gas, you can start your factory a lot faster, you can make more units before you actually make them. And then, on top of that, you don't really need another turret here. If he does drop into your natural and you don't have a turret there, you just go up to the turret over there and you turret leapfrog, because you already have that 1 turret over there.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Game resumed.
So this has already killed your push, pretty much, as well. Okay, he sees the Marauder though. When do you push? Oh, do you not push up?
I don't know what I'm doing. I told you I played macro this game. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God, it's before the factory. Oh my God, it's before the factory.
Yeah, that's.
Okay.
I don't know what I was doing this game. Just forget about the build. Just
I
game
guess
plan.
game plan wise, you're still let's forget about the build. But game plan wise, you're still kind of like going in the right direction here. You're following the game plan of staying ahead in bases and economy, so can't really complain. Like, it's not the best thing to do, but it's far from a bad thing you could have done. However, okay, he's going for double forge as well, so he's going to be turtling a lot. And, oh, you're lifting off as soon as possible as well, which is good. We're, okay, there are your 2 medevacs. Oh my God, he's going to push.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, just shit like this. But it's because I messed up on the build that I think that this.
Pretty much, yeah. So one of the bad things about not having a build is that when shit like this happens, you don't really know what to fix. Because there's so much variation. If you were doing everything properly and he does a push like this, you should have enough units, and you should have widow mines too. You have 0 widow mines. To be able to create a flank. Let's see what you end up doing. You have enough units to create a flank as well, so that you can completely crush him if he pushes out too far.
Game paused.
But like right here, let's just see the fight actually. Okay.
Game paused. Game resumed.
Like I tried to do something like a flank, but like it. Ugh.
So the first thing, so like right here, let's assume that you did the build right and everything you did was okay. The first strategic mistake you made is you did not pull your SCVs with this push. This is
As it happened.
Yeah, you pulled it too late. So your bio army's already dying. There's like half of it dead already before you actually pull your SCVs. The second thing is that you don't want to immediately stim in. These are kind of just rules of engagement of how to micro against a Protoss army,
Game resumed.
which I have no idea how you could figure out on your own. It's kind of hard unless you have an actual thing for it.
Game
So, like right here, stimming in is no good. You want to slowly walk in and try to get him to bait or to use a force field or two and to just wait. There's absolutely no reason for you to attack right now. And I'm talking about literally right now. You can wait for him to get into a little bit closer on your side of the map, maybe until the command center is at like half HP, or maybe until you get an extra set of Vikings, or just like you don't need to attack right now. In this case, your macro is not going, you don't have any units on the way, so it's not, well, you could have waited for them to get into position, but here you want to get the best possible engagement, and that doesn't always that doesn't mean just rushing into it all the time. So by not stimming and by trying to bait out force fields, by just kind of walking around the force field range, and some units might get force fielded off, but most of the time he'll do preemptive force fields. These were just very slow force fields. And then, to be honest, how many force fields does he even have? He has 1, 4, 5, so I guess 2 over there, 2 there already, and then 1, 2, 3. So he doesn't even have enough to fully stop this. If you had, so basically, if you had these units over here coming in from behind, and you had your SCVs attacking at the same time as your army, before the purpose of the SCVs is to tank Colossi shots. When the Colossi shots are going off on your Marines like this, then you're pretty much already dead. It's like when it's like when an EMP hits all your Templars, and as a Protoss player, you still try to fight anyways. It's just like you're better off backing up. So, you know what? To be honest, you didn't even need to take this engagement. It's 2 bases versus 3 bases. You did not need to hold this 3rd base even. Now that I'm thinking about it, so there are 2 options that we have that are pretty good. You can attack here, or if you need to buy more time, you just give up your 3rd base, because it's 2 bases versus 2 base. You'll still have 3 mules. You'll be fine if you delay it. He has no 3rd base even going down or starting to go down. So, let me think. So basically, assuming you wanted to fight here, and these are only decisions that you can make outside of the game before you make it inside. Like, when you see a player do all of the things I just said during a game, it's because they've lost like this. They've had to look at the replay and then look through their options and then pick the best option, and then have that in mind for the next time this happens.
Okay.
So the best thing you probably could have done was this over here, that small group that's way out of position, coming in as part of a flank somewhere, and pulling your SCVs to tank the Colossi shots before they started to kill all of your bio units. And then you would have crushed the fight. You should have had 1-1. I don't know why you're getting +2. Okay, never mind. That's actually okay, because you have a double eBay. But yeah, so just pulling the SCVs faster and then having the execution of your attack better would have won you the game. There's literally nothing you needed to change about your build, except for the execution of it.
Okay. Although changing the build would be good.
Yes, it would definitely help.
Yeah.
And then the second stim, if you didn't kill if the fight went on past the second or past the first stim, you're pretty much already dead because you can't afford to stim. When you're fighting a Protoss army like this, you can only stim once, so you have to make it count. It's better for the Protoss army to be attacking you and for you to lose units than for you to stim preemptively, even. Because if you're stimming preemptively, that's like 10 HP to each of your units, but if you only lost like 5 Marauders before you stim to get a better positioning or to buy time or something, then that's a lot more worth it than dealing damage like a mini storm to your entire army.
True.
And also, it's the duration is also more in effect during the battle.
If I start attacking, then stem instead of stem into the attack.
Yeah, you want it to last as long as possible and not force a second stim. Overstimming is a big problem.
Last possible second before I end up taking an inefficient engagement.
And even then, like, what I like to do is, you didn't really do, did you do any damage? When did you kill 20? Oh, no, he killed 21 workers. So you didn't really take any damage, but he was kind of ahead. I might have a replay that could be helpful, but I was kind of ahead. My concussor shell pushed a good amount of damage, and then the only thing he could do was attack. Yeah, I think it'll be useful to watch. But yeah, that's pretty much all you needed to do differently was how you engage it. Do you have another TVP replay we could take a look at really quickly?
Yes.
I have a theory about something.
And how do you select units without using the all army hotkey? The way that I do it when I'm not using the all army hotkey is I have my space bound to a camera location, and then I use that as my rally location. Then I press space.
I usually have my entire army hotkeyed.
But like as you're building units.
What?
Like, as you're building units, like if you're not using the all army hotkey, how do you add units to your army without using it? Without like, what's the most efficient way to do that?
By having them on a hotkey and then just adding them to the hotkey.
Yeah, but like you have to like look away from your base or look away from your army and stuff, then add them to the hotkey. Like,
yes.
What is the most efficient way to do that? Like the way that I do it when I'm not using the all army hotkey is when I have space set to a camera location where my rally is. Then I have the army hotkey. Then I go to that location, and then I select the army, control or shift 1, and then to the location I want it. But like, is there any faster way to do that?
No.
Okay, so do you use the camera location too, or like a?
Yeah, I do the same thing. There's
Okay.
just small things that make it a lot more effective to do that because it takes time. Things that you can do that are helpful is it's important to know when to do that, such as you can do that when you're backing up with your army, so then you don't have to keep an eye on your army. You can go back, get more of your army, and then go back to your army and see what's going on. There's key times to do that, when to draw your attention away. It's a mechanical thing, and I don't want to get into it more until we get the build order down first.
Okay, awesome. Let me throw you an invite.
I know what you're talking about, and I can't really give out a better answer.
Because I see like some Koreans and stuff like Bomber. He uses the all army hotkey a ton when he's rallying. So like, do you think like when I'm rallying against Zerg, like to go for the kill, I should use the all army hotkey, or should I like when I'm constantly like microing and stuff and adding units to my?
Can you say that again?
Is there a good time to use the all army hotkey?
I use it like all the time. To
Okay.
be honest, I have my all army hotkey on Q, and I use it a lot. I'd rather use my all army hotkey to. Hold on. This guy. No, never mind. Well, yeah, hold on. There's another call. This guy says it's urgent. I'll be right back.
All right. Overall, going really well so far, guys. Oh, he's calling me. Hello?
Oh, what a troll. Okay, so basically your all army hotkey. Or okay, so what I was saying was I use it a lot, and I would rather use the all army hotkey and then deselect a unit at the watchtower than to manually add units to my control group.
Okay, that's
Or like
kind of
deselect a drop after I use the all army hotkey. It's just a lot quicker that way.
that's what I do. Okay, but I actually physically click the button on screen because I have the hotkey removed, so that's a bad
Yeah,
habit.
so that's not very effective to do that. If you don't have a hotkey for the army hotkey, you probably should not do. You should probably do a different method then.
Well, I can always re-add it. Like it's not like a big issue. But Q is patrol for me. I can't change that to all army or all. It'll
What
be
is
like
it?
Q is patrol.
Why is Q? Okay, what about Z?
Z for what? Patrol?
What do you use Z for?
I don't think anything.
Well, why don't you use your Z for something like patrol? I don't know. It's something that's worth taking a look at.
Actually, that's
To
a really good idea.
rebrand your all army hotkey.
I think Q would be a good one. I'm just gonna change that really. I'm not gonna change that right now, actually, because that's not a good idea to be trying to learn new builds, new strategy.
Yeah. Learn the build first and then change it.
Yeah.
And then do you have the idle worker? Do you use that?
No, I just click it whenever I see it. There's
Yeah, so you don't even have a hotkey for that. So my Q is my all army hotkey, my W is my idle worker hotkey, because I'm never gonna use warp gate as Terran.
What is W for me?
It's warp gate.
No, but like, does Terran have a W?
It's warp gate. I'm like 99% sure it's warp gate.
Warp gate? What is warp gate? Like,
It's for Protoss.
yeah. I'm asking like, what is W for Terran?
Like it's just a universally bound key, I think. For the Protoss warp gate.
So even if you're playing Terran, that's the warp gate. Like-
Yes, and if not, then it's nothing.
So I want to see right now, do I have W bound to anything just for...
I have no idea how you can do that. Maybe by just trying to bind it to a random thing and seeing if a conflict comes up.
Yeah, I'm going through buildings right now.
Wait, oh crap. I probably shouldn't have started the replay.
No worries. No.
I was just gonna be like, I'm gonna start the replay while you do this, but that's...
No worries.
Whoops.
I'm gonna write that down though, like
Alright, sure. Something to test.
yeah, okay, so all army to Q, patrol to Z, idle worker to W. One guy in my chat says that he uses W to lift my buildings. You might like that. I use F and G right next to each other to lift and land buildings.
That's
So
interesting. I use G to make ghosts, but I don't really use F for anything, I think.
I use T for ghosts.
F. I use Z to lift my buildings. It's so easy.
SCV ready.
I think it's just like more like preference for people because like everybody has different hotkeys and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Although they're like technically like one way might be 0.01% more efficient or whatever, but like it's a matter of like you can.
It's how comfortable you are.
Yeah, like Innovation still uses Brood War hotkeys to like. Have you seen him like moving his hand around his keyboard? Like he's pressing like K and shit.
Base is under attack.
And then like Losira's hotkeys probably aren't that efficient.
I'm not sure. Have to take a closer look into that.
SCVs
Yeah.
are under attack.
But if Koreans can get to the place where they are with using like buttons like K and L and stuff, like there's Koreans who still use L for lift and stuff like.
Let's just say hotkeys don't make or break a GSL champion. They're a
Yeah.
very minor thing in comparison to more important traits such as strategy and your game plan and general mechanics.
Additional.
What can you?
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, he forced a what's it called? He recalled he did an early aggression, and I forced out.
Yeah. That's always a good feeling.
Add-on.
Like yes, you recalled.
Yeah, and another time a guy was trying to hide a Dark Shrine and he photon overcharged for a Reaper, but I still saw the Dark Shrine. Um, so I was like, oh lord, and I just walked in and killed him.
The only thing concussive shell pushes are weak against is against like a parting build where you get a fast second and third gateway, so you have a warp in round ready. But other than that, it should. The way I do it, it hits before warp gate is usually finished, or you have your second and third gateway ready, so it is able to do a good amount. It's usually able to hit at a good timing.
Nice. I think I win this game. I'm not sure.
I'm just looking for the engagement. That's what I want to take a look at. I don't really care about any. Well, fuck, you're already really far ahead, anyways.
Yeah, I think that.
Do you have a TVP game where you lose because of the engagement? Or, I mean, just where you lose? Like the last game.
I'm not. I'll find one after this.
Okay. So I don't think this is going to even get up to a... oh, this is against Templar. You Widow Mines. This should be a pretty easy win.
Upgrade complete.
No, you don't make ghosts. Okay, so
Game paused.
if we're going to go Widow Mine style, just don't make ghosts. That is not a unit to you, okay?
Thank God.
It does not exist.
God. Thank
All
God.
your focus is to make Marauders, Marines, Medevacs, and Widow Mines. That's how easy your macro
I
is.
love Terran. Awesome.
Game resumed.
Okay, I wasn't sure. God, Ghost Viking control is so much harder than Widowmine.
It is, I think. Well, I go Ghost Viking. It's Widow Mine's more about positioning and how you take engagements than anything, which can be very tricky sometimes.
I'm gonna look for a long Protoss game if I
Just
have
look for
it.
one where it gets to like a kind of a maxed out army fight and you lose, because I have a feeling, or I think that'll be the half of TVP is like everything else, getting your build right and not getting supply blocked and scouting and reading your opponent correctly. The other half is how you engage the army in engagements, like death ball army engagements. That's literally how you can win or lose TVPs if you're ahead or behind.
Oh no,
It's-
I accidentally went into a replay. No cancel. Oh god damn it. Yeah, I agree. I accidentally went to a replay right now, but I think I found a 17-minute TVP against Carl Towns, the guy I lost to before. So I'm hoping that I lose that, or a 15-minute TVP. So hopefully that's good.
Okay.
I might lose this game too. I'm not sure. This might be the game when the Muslim hosted me, so I was playing so bad. Alright, let me promote you. Alright.
Dump da 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 dump. I can't wait to see how you do on ladder with all the new information you know.
Yeah, like after I refine, like, and like kind of like process it all.
Well, that should only take like a game or two to get used to, the thought process.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the thought process of having a game plan, of staying ahead in economy and basis.
If this like immediately gets me to like 60% win rate and everything, like I'll be so fucking happy. Like, oh my god.
There is a very good chance that it could actually do that, because most people your level don't think like this.
Yeah.
And so you'll find games. This is the best way to win from from when you're behind. So you can find games where you're just kind of behind, but if you macro your heart out and you don't make too many, you don't get supply blocked too much or anything, you can still make a comeback because you have a game plan and your opponent doesn't. And you're still working towards that, whereas your opponent's just kind of doing whatever.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that all of this information is like I can use it like over time too. Like just like even like if I get the GM.
This will be applicable throughout Legacy of the Void. Like it's how RTS is supposed to be played.
And like if I get even if I get the GM and stuff, if I'm having trouble or whatever, I can literally go back and like watch like clips of this VOD and like be like, oh okay, like game plan, need to refocus on doing that because like what if
hopefully by the time you're there, you'll be able to. You won't have to look back at this VOD. You'll just kind of know it instinctively.
True.
All right, so let's see what happens here. Okay, this is more of a out of position thing. Okay, but it has a lot of freaking scenarios. So this was just scouting inconveniences. Well, are you gonna win this?
I think I'm gonna win this actually.
I think so too. If you pull the SCVs, he burnt all his force shields. Yeah. Okay. Well, that wasn't what I quite wanted, so never mind.
Yeah,
it's
sorry.
okay though. I'm sure you'll get more games of it, especially with Widow Mines, where you just feel like you can't engage his army. Let me show you a quick replay.
Yeah.
Of the build that the concussive shell push build that I do. It's just very minor changes, but it's a lot more solid, I think.
All right.
It basically optimizes the push.
Can you upload this to Spawning Tool too?
Sure. Let's see, Coda, Spawning Tool. I'm just like uploading it and linking you. I don't really have a fuck. I can't do that.
An account or anything? That's fine.
It's weird. I can't click and drag it. I have to click and or copy paste to my desktop and then select it from the thing.
Oh, okay. We can fix that then.
It's fine. I don't plan on doing this very often.
Oh, okay. But that's a good idea. I'll talk to Kevin about it.
Okay. Let's see. Word. There's that. Okay, so basically the build order, I'm just going to go through it really quickly. Standard depot, 12 racks, 12 gas, nothing you haven't seen before. And I also scout here with my 13th SCV. Like the one that I build right after I start the refinery, I send it to scout. It's for 10 gates. If you don't scout it that fast, you can't put a bunker and a wall up.
So wait.
Game paused.
So why do you send out this? What is the scouting information that would give you if there's a stalker coming in and kills the SCV?
No, if you see a cyber core and no gateway.
Oh, okay. For the proxy 1 gate.
Yes.
But what if they do the proxy 1 gate where they just send in a zealot? Like a zealot then go into stalker, so the zealot would hit quicker.
Well, you'll see the cyber core starting. He won't have the zealot done yet.
Okay.
So you can react. It gives you exactly enough time to react fast enough. You see his base. You immediately move SCVs to put down a bunker and depot. If you wait, if you even go around his base, like make a full circle, then it's not going to be enough time. You have to just you see the cyber core, you see some chrono saved up, or you see the cyber core warping in, I should say. You don't see anything next to the gateway, then you immediately know it's 1 gate, and you just put down a bunker and a depot, and then you're fine.
Okay.
And then you just transition out of that.
And what SCV is it? The one that right after the gas finishes?
Right after the gas starts.
Oh, okay. So this is earlier than I usually scout, so this is a smart idea.
It's like here, this one I'm building now, I rally it.
Okay.
See? Only on 2-player maps, though. You don't need to worry about 4-player.
And yeah, deny the natural with the SCV, but don't engineering bit block. All right.
Oh
Game
crap.
paused.
Oh, we forgot about the.
Oh. Okay, so the only difference here now is that
Game paused.
What the fuck?
I know the command center starts at like 3:33, so I can go back that much. Or no, that's for different. Oh, that no, I don't know why mine's so late. Okay, so I build the command center, I build the reactor, I cut SCVs during this whole time, and then my next 150 minerals goes to the barracks. Next minerals go for the depot, or okay, I can make the SCV and then the depot. It times out that way.
Okay.
And then I make the third barracks, and then I put my guys back on gas. And so like, I'm not really supply blocked or anything. I can still make my marines.
Mm-hmm. Is it better to get scouting information or to kill scouting probes?
The first SCV told me that he's going for a fast expand, so the next set of scouting information I don't need right away.
So it's better to keep it at home.
Yeah, that's why I was denying it.
Okay.
Against 2 gas, I would just not do the push because, like 2 gas, 3 probes in each gas, I wouldn't do the push because you shouldn't do it against a 1-base player and just play, defend the all-in and scout with the Reaper then.
So still get concussive and stuff, just don't push out.
I probably wouldn't even get concussive. I'd just get stim and I'd go to medevacs.
Okay, then I need to learn the transition.
Yeah, but that's not until you get it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so from here on out, it's just Tech Lab comes down immediately after, and you're just making units. You do another SCV cut though, right now when you get 16 SCVs. So if you'll cut now, right after your orbital starts, you don't want to make an SCV because you need the money to go straight into your Marauder, your Marines, and then the depot. I think I canceled this. Yeah, that was a mistake. That should be a Marine. Okay. Oh. Oh, I don't need to cancel that. I can go up to 17 SCVs because I forgot. Oh, it's because I don't make the concussive shell upgrade right away anymore. I realized what's the point of having. I moved out with 2 Marauders at about the 7-minute mark, and there's no point in getting the concussive shell upgrade until you actually need it.
Like 6:30.
And it's short enough. Yeah, it's short enough so that when you start it, when your second Marauder starts, it'll be done by the time you start using it. Or you start using your Marauders, at least. So, I only cut SCVs now, and then I build the depot, and then I make a round of units, and then I should be at 36 out of 36 supply, if I didn't lose anything. Yeah, I don't think I lost anything. So I'm at 36 out of 30,
Game paused.
37 out of... I'm at like 35 or 36 supply, and so it's to the point where you can just... Then you make the 2 SCVs, and then you make your 4th depot.
Okay.
So it's all my build is, the difference is minor SCV cutting. And then right before I move out, like the last 2 Marines that come out of the reactor, you want to keep at home because of proxy oracles. So what happens here is you push out with this force, but then you keep 2 Marauders or 2 Marines at home, so then your next wave of Marines, you make like 4 Marines at once, so then you'll have 6 in time for the oracle, which comes out now, so you'll see how it works out. And that way, you don't need an eBay in 2 turrets. I'm just getting this eBay for the DT timing, if there's any. But see, I have 6 Marines already against the proxy oracle. Or not the proxy oracle, just the regular oracle.
Okay.
And then this push ends up just kind of killing him. You always want to check if there's a sentry or not, because if there's not, then it's just a free win, kind of. Yeah, so now it's over. That's the beginning part of the build. I get a fast second tech lab, for the Marauder production, but I won't start combat shields until after I start the factory. I have a better replay of the transition up to the third base if you want to take a look at that.
Yes, please.
But I just wanted to introduce you to the kind of the opener and when you should be cutting the SCVs. I'll be right back. I have to check EU for it.
Okay.
Let's see. Did I not play that today? I guess I played it yesterday. Nope. 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 I know what replay I'm thinking of. Maybe I played it on North America. Oh, I did! I played it this morning on North America. That's... wow.
How many games do you play per day? Or how long do you play per day?
Depends if I have chores I need to do or if I have school. But if it's a regular full day, I try to play anywhere between 30 and 40 a day.
Okay. And like how long is that? Like 7 hours, 8 hours?
Usually 12 plus.
Damn. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Do you do gaming full time?
No, I'm starting school in a couple weeks.
Okay. Starting college or?
Yeah.
Are you?
I don't even know. I don't really consider myself. So I've technically been in college for like almost 4 years. This is my 4th year now. All my friends are going to be graduating. But
Okay.
I'm definitely behind because I'm taking my classes a lot slower.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still I'm just barely a full-time student.
Okay. So you're taking barely 12?
I'm taking 13
Okay.
credits. So it's like 4 classes. I have them all on Tuesday and Thursday as well.
Okay.
So it's
I
like
have
12-hour school day on Tuesday and Thursday, and then like 12 hours StarCraft days the rest.
Mm-hmm. I'm taking 12 hours, 12 credits, and I have 3 on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and then what's it called? 1 class on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, I commute, so that's why I try to not have classes on other days.
Oh
So
yeah.
I lessen the driving time to make it more efficient.
Yeah, I'm like a 10-minute walk from everything.
That's nice. You live in a dorm?
Yeah. Fortunately and unfortunately. No privacy, but I mean, like, my roommate's cool, so he doesn't care when I game, how I game, and whatever. If my roommate had a problem with me playing and with my keyboard, then I would be,
Yeah.
But it's nice to be able to get the 150 up, like 100 or 150 down, 150 up.
Yeah, that.
Internet. So I can literally stream like in 3D, like.
I'm kind of jealous. Just your computer holding you back now.
Yeah, exactly.
Want a piece of me, boy?
And it's like there's no like I'm not being charged for power, so I don't have to worry about like turning off my PC at certain times or whatever.
This better be good.
Well, I live at home, so I technically don't pay for utilities,
Hmm.
but I still live at home.
Upgrade complete.
Yeah. No, I'm probably gonna do the same thing. That's what my brother did.
Pause resumed. Game
Oh, I don't know if you're a Reaper or if you saw that with the Reaper. I keep my Reaper alive just because there's no reason to sack it. If I see a Stargate, I already countered it blindly, leaving the 2 Marines at home and then making 4 more. If it's a Robo, doesn't matter. If it's Blink or Twilight or DTs, the DTs hit after the push. Blink isn't done before the push happens, so the push is my scouting information. It forces my opponent to reveal his hand.
resumed.
Okay. And you poked the Reaper in to see what he had.
Game.
Just to check his gas, and this guy had his gas really fast. So if you look at my vision, I see both of his gas already before the 7-minute mark. So I know it's not a blink timing, and I know it's not an oracle, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but it's basically not... It narrows the list of builds down a lot. I don't think it's even DTs because you need money for the warp prism and the gateways.
Game
True.
resumed.
One of my viewers just said, "Am I being coached by the god of gifts?"
Yes, you are.
How often, like, I guess playing 40 games a day, you get those situations that you
Yeah, it pops up. So if I play for 30 to 40 games a day, it's not all the time, but in a week, I usually can play, let's see, 7 times 20, 25. So I guess like anywhere between like 180 to 200 games a week. So having like 1 to 5 gifts a week isn't too uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I was gonna show you the mid game, I guess. So like he has a sentry there. He doesn't even have gateways though, so he's pretty screwed. This push is hard countering his.
Yeah.
And it's able to do a lot of damage. It's also a benefit of doing the depot before the racks because it hits a little bit faster. I believe like 10 to 15 seconds faster.
Yeah.
So it did a lot of damage. What I do from here though, I get the factor, I get the +1, and this is where it kind of just starts to go into a normal game. Getting the combat shields as well. And I have 3 gases. I go up to 16 SCVs at my natural and only 1 gas, and then I take my 3rd and I cut SCVs until after I add my 4th and 5th barracks, and then I'll add on a 4th gas. I guess I can upload this replay too, if you, for like the mid-game timings, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like right here, and I do this pretty much every game. I'll make the extra 2 raxes, then I'll add on my 4th gas.
Game resumed.
And I always build my 3rd base on location, unless there were DTs.
Okay.
Even versus Blink, I will still do it because I still get a high enough Marauder count to push him back, and there's like high ground here as well, so it's hard for him to push up.
Mm-hmm.
Game resumed.
Okay, but then the other last important thing that I wanted to show you was the engagement. So even though he is pretty low on army, he's only had 1 gate for a while. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's going up to 6 gateways now. His army is still relatively small, but I just want to show you how my thought process of engaging into it. Like, he still has enough sentries and colossi that if I just YOLO in, I will still take a lot of damage. So I knew he was coming. I have a marine at his 3rd base, so I know he doesn't have a 3rd base. I also broke down. I thought I broke that down. I guess he walked across this way.
Yeah.
But I weakened the rocks over here. It's just a map dependent thing. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to do this on other maps. But I weakened the rocks, so if I saw him coming, that I can just like one hit it and break it down. That bought me a lot of valuable time. So what I end up doing is I set up my flank. I have a couple bunkers there. I probably didn't even need the bunkers, to be honest. I was just being extra safe. And what I end up doing is just creating a big flank against him. But I'm going Vikings as well, so buying time also helps getting a higher Viking count up. So like here,
Well, I have a question. If I'm going bio-mine, do I get medevacs though?
you get 4 medevacs and then you make Vikings, but you still make Widow Mines.
Well, like, no, like, that's, like, the style that I, like, wanted to play. Like, if I see that I'm
but
facing
against the
this...
2-base all-in, you just get 4 medevacs, and then you get Vikings. Until you hold the 2-base all-in, then you'd get medevacs to drop.
Okay.
You need the Vikings to hold.
Okay. And, you, with Biomine, don't directly engage the army at all, right? Like, until I, like, do damage.
Somewhat, yes. It's tricky because you have to do economic damage to... You have to basically limit his army. So your game plan is
Stay
to
ahead in economy, stay ahead in bases.
not to stay ahead in economy, but to stay or to like limit his army size and prevent the Protoss from getting a death ball.
Okay, let's write down my game plans so far, just so.
In TVZ and TVP, it's to stay ahead in economy and bases.
Okay.
In TVP, if you're going the Widowmine style, it's to prevent the Terran or the Protoss player from obtaining a death ball. So like a death ball is basically a maxed out Protoss army with either Colossi or a combination of Colossi and Templars and Archons, or even just Colossi Archons, anything like that. And the way you do that is by outpositioning your opponent, because he has to split up his army to stop drops, and you can either drop into the main base. You either want to deal probe damage so that he enough probe damage so that it's hard for him to build up an army, and that buys you time to set up for more attacks, or more important than probe damage is you need to snipe off and cut off important Protoss gas units so he replaces them. Otherwise, like if you don't kill any Colossi within the first 6 medevacs, you're kind of already dead. You're not dead, you're just behind.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so TVP, prevent Protoss from obtaining a death ball, outposition opponent. He has to split for army and drops and stuff, so just
Well, it's just prevent the Protoss player from obtaining a death ball army.
Yeah, but those are under it though. Those are two things I can do.
I guess. Yeah, there's a lot more different reasons as well. Those are just a couple.
And sniping important gas units and outpositioning him can help me obtain my game plan.
Yes, among things.
Yeah, and I can just add to that list as we go.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see this. Hold.
So the way this works is the reason why I stim so fast right now, like I stim right now, is because he's fighting in this and I also double scanned, so I saw exactly where his army is.
Mm-hmm.
But I did this because I see how many force fields he has. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And he used 1 Guardian Shield. So he's 8 force fields. That is not enough to cover this entire ramp area. It's like he's forced to back up a little bit. His force fields were kind of bad. Even if they were good, he would have had to waste all of his force fields. And using all of his force fields for a stim is definitely worth it.
Okay.
And I believe I pulled SCVs as well.
I don't know. Did you? I didn't think you did. Did you?
Game paused.
Oh, I guess I didn't. Never mind.
Yeah. So
but if I had SCVs at the third, or if I really needed to, I didn't pull SCVs now because I knew my army was bigger, and I knew he was attacking. This is a very bad spot he's attacking into, so I have the positional advantage. Let's say his force fields were perfect here, and I wasn't able to move forward anymore, I would back up, I would then pull my SCVs and then attack him, because he would have no force fields to buffer against me.
Okay.
The reason why this was a good fight for me was because I was able to use up all of his force fields. He has 1 left.
Okay.
Yeah. And so now, all of a sudden, his army can be flanked very easily, and my army is now allowed to deal a lot more damage against it. And then if I needed to use a second stim, I would have backed up and then pulled the SCVs along with my units to kind of replace the health that I lost from the stim, because my medevacs wouldn't have been able to heal up all of my units.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, it's a good example of position on this map.
Yeah, positioning is super, super important.
Especially with the style.
Yeah, it's everything, and I'll help you more with it after you start playing games. Sometimes your army will just be completely out of position. Then I can point out what you could have done better positional wise. But eventually, I'd like you to be there yourself so that you no longer need my help for it.
Yeah, and that's that's the show that you don't care as much about the money as me getting good. So you're still gonna get the money, but the fact that your goal is to make it so I don't need you anymore eventually. I think that's good.
Yeah, it just feels weird, like if you're taking someone's money and you're not really helping them.
Hmm.
Like the goal for helping people should be to help them, not to just profit off of your own
Yeah.
whatever.
And the reason that I picked, like me and my friend were going through coaches and stuff. The reason that I picked you was because of your videos. It helped me in the past online. Um,
Ah,
yeah, your YouTube channel was the reason that I picked you because I used multiple of your videos before.
I wish I'm not really gonna have time to make. Well, I might, because there's not really many tournaments going on. But it's hard to keep it up.
Oh yeah, because you have to watch the game, watch it again, watch the where position, watch if he cuts SCVs, like stuff like that.
Yeah, I actually might try to do a video tonight. Now that you brought it up.
Either way, they are helpful though. I don't know if you have any
That's
mech
nice to hear.
ones. I don't know. Do you have any ones where you like outline like positioning on mech and stuff?
What do you mean mech in what matchup?
Like TVZ or TVT, like positioning wise and stuff. Because I don't know if I saw a video about that. Um,
I probably did.
yeah.
There's a lot of different topics.
All right. Well, either way, like I still use your videos, and that's why I picked you as a coach. So, just so you know, like
Well, I'm glad you could find some help in it.
yeah. All right. So I'll put like on this map, like I've always like broken down those rocks, just to buy time and stuff. And I also like when a Zerg tries to engage into those when they're still up, I just laugh because I cut off half of their army and then like 60 Zerglings just die. So I always have abused those rocks, but like, would you say that like dropping back here would be a good idea, and then going in for a surround?
I didn't have my army. Yes, however, I didn't have my army in. You know what? Actually, I have a great example. Let me find the memory stick. Where the fuck? Oh, here it is. It is against. I was at the Hell It's About Time base trade tournament. I lost 0-2 versus Huck. However, there are some very crazy good engagements there. Where like I fucked myself and I was pretty much dead at that point. But I really was able to kind of. I wouldn't say delay. I guess delay the inevitable. It was kind of too good to be true to win the game. My economy was in shambles. But let me find the game because I think it's a very excellent example of a good surround.
Oh, I wish you could have beaten Huck. That would have been so cool.
I beat him in a tournament a month before with Mech. Actually, that was pretty nice.
What? I.
Oh, you didn't? I guess not many people know that. And then I beat State or I lost to him 1-2, but I also beat him with Mech in, I think, a qualifier of some sort.
Mech
Hold on.
vs Protoss. What are you doing? What is like? Is this even real life?
It's funny because I haven't beaten Huck with my bio, but I beat him once with my Mech.
I think that's because they just don't have, like, he might not have as much experience against mech. Because, like, no one does it.
Probably, yeah. It was a pretty crazy game.
Was it like a mech macro game, or was it like the Polt bio mech?
It was
push?
it was a macro game for sure.
That's so funny.
Here, I'll look it up for you really quickly.
Yeah, I just like to watch those replays, just to watch them for the entertainment value.
Yeah. It's not often you get to see that kind of thing.
Do a video on it. Be like, just.
No, I don't. I purposefully don't do videos on my own play.
That's actually a good like motto, or whatever. Because then people are like, oh, he's just trying to say how good he is.
Yeah. Where the hell is it? When did I there it is. Okay, it is. There it is.
The Huck one.
Oh, get the fuck out. SC2 share, the domain name has expired. Are you kidding me? Wait, it might be on the thumb drive that I have. I take it to all my LANs. It has my variables text.
Here.
Very possibly has the replays.
Here's just a SC2 replay sharer thing that a guy made because that site went out of order.
Well, it doesn't help because the replay was on it, so unless it has a backup.
Oh.
But I think I have it here anyways.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, this is it. I actually do have it. I'll just send it to you in Skype. It's like a 28 minute mech game on Coda.
Okay, let me download that.
Let's see, but the other game versus him, bio. Okay, here it is. Here it is. And I think this will probably. I think we've pretty much covered all the basics. You have builds for each matchup, and you have a game plan. Now you just have to go do it. Glad that we were able to cover all three of the matchups. I'm gonna start the game really quickly, then I gotta go to the bathroom, so I'll be right back.
All right. Ugh, so much information to take in at once. Ugh. I'm getting tired from so much learning, you know? Spoder! You guys want to hear an awesome song? Here, we'll listen to this until he comes back. Actually, will it do copyright? So I can't listen to my own VOD? I'm not going to do it. We can listen to it later. Hey guys, if you look on top streamers on SC2 on Mask, look where we are. We're there, boys. We've made it.
I'm back.
All right, sweet. Let's see what.
So, who else did you end up? Oh, I think I do the concussive shell build too.
Awesome.
But who else did you end up thinking about for coaching?
Well, we were going through the top like GMs, like, and my friend was just going through names. He's like, oh, this person. Who else?
Upgrade.
Are there a lot of Terrans in top GM?
Like, who is Caitlin's boyfriend?
Brent StarCraft?
Yeah, apparently he does coaching, and then I talked to some friends. They're like, no, he's just good at micro. He sucks at macro, and I was like, okay. Don't know if that's true or not, but then we were going to Fatal Bunny.
He's a Zerg player.
Yeah, but he does Terran too. Hello. People have arrived.
Yeah, I heard. We're almost done though. Do you want to stop now? Or... Well, I just want to show you the engagement, then we can finish.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want you being antisocial. They're probably thinking, why are you talking to your computer?
No, I don't care what they think.
I know, I was like, oh god, I don't record it now.
When did that happening?
Upgrade complete.
At least I did the concussive. I did the concussive shell push both games. I think I should have switched it up. But I was really pissed that I lost this game because I was in such a good position, but then his Warp Prism did way too much damage.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, I'm just going to do the same build again, I'm not going to mess up, and I will win. I should have probably just switched it up though. The second game ended up being like a 35-minute game on Coda, where I was extremely far behind again, and I had to try to split the map up on Coda.
Oh wow.
It was not a fun time. It was a struggle for sure.
I'm on Skype if you don't know.
You just say you're on Skype with a famous person.
No, I said if you were wondering.
Ready for dust off.
But the other one does apply too. Beautiful engagement.
Yeah, that was, you know what, actually? So, the reason why this was a bad engagement, do you know why? The answer?
Let me watch it again.
No, the reason why, or like, why this engagement was bad, I guess. It doesn't really have anything to do with micro. It's my game plan.
You have no reason to be there.
Exactly. I have absolutely no fucking reason to be there. That was really... I thought I did... No, I guess I didn't really do that much damage. Like the 5 workers. But yeah, I had no reason to be there. In hindsight, very dumb move.
2020.
I'm like still in an okay spot, I guess, but I go for Widow Mines. Don't work out too well because Huck made a shit ton of cannons, so I needed to do either a very large attack. Oh, this is where it does way too much damage. A very large attack to offset the cannon defense, or to just go into Ghost Viking and have a static defense be useless.
Okay.
This is pretty brutal.
Yeah. You're just getting slapped around.
Yeah. But even despite all this damage, I'm still able to win a fight. I just want to point that out to you.
Okay.
Like, oh my god, I'm down so much. Why?
My pledge meeting was so boring.
I guess like this wasn't a complete stomp. I really tried. I really tried to win.
Of course you did.
It's just, oh my gosh. Alright, so this looks like a pretty unlosable, like, it looks like I'm gonna die here, right?
Yeah.
I swear never to.
So this is what, these are rules of engagements that allows me to kind of stay in the game. Good Widow Mine shots, still shouldn't have made a difference. So right now, I'm buying time, and these units, they're setting up a flank. I'm buying time for them to just come over around. I'm also trying to be in his face as well, so that I force him to use all his storms up as well. He has like 3 more storms he could use, and he ends up being a retard. He doesn't have an observer with him. No, he does. He's just being retarded. He storms the Widow Mines after they fired their shots. He also stormed the SCVs that were just sitting there. That like they weren't going anywhere, so why storm them? So he pretty much is wasting his storms right now. He uses them all up. I dodge a couple, and so now this is where I know my army is this close away, so I'm moving this army over here because I have like 1 second before he can like pounce on it. I have this army over here, and then I have this army over here. And this is all about just like buying as much time as possible. And then now, I timed it well, I go in, and I'm able to clean up his enemy.
Wow.
Doesn't really mean much, because I have no economy, but...
True.
I'm still alive.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, so... that's just like, that was just a really good engagement by me, even though I was in a crappy position. So even if you do have like very little economy,
Really say that?
your army, you can always come back through engagements. But I would have had to do that like 2 to 3 more times to win. But yeah. So your homework is to follow the builds that I gave you. You have the Widowmine drop in TVZ. You have the Cloak Banshee expand into 3CC Biotank in TVT, and you have the 3 Rex concussive shell push into Marines or into Biomine
Yeah.
drops. And you have the build orders for all of them.
Yep.
And what I want you to do is to do the build as well as humanly possible. Like, don't make any change. Make as little changes as possible. Like,
Are you gonna go?
even adding a bunker is a lot.
Okay.
There was no
Like
bathroom.
that, something as small as a bunker is
Go
something
back and
you
be
want to
there
add.
wasn't one
Like
package.
what I want to have for next time is a bunch of replays where you either win or you lose really hard, but then I will be there to help show you how to make these kinds of adjustments so that the next time you play versus it, then you can completely stomp your opponents. So it's kind of a longer term thing. So
Yeah.
it's actually better if you lose a lot
I know.
more,
Okay.
because that's really where you'll if you win, then that's like, okay, well, it worked already. There's not really much to say. But when you lose, that's where the real learning comes into play.
Yeah, I already agree with that. All right, so I'm gonna go.
Yeah, no problem. I'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks for the help.
Yeah, no problem. We'll set up a time on Skype later too.
Yeah, I'll message you later tonight or tomorrow, something we can figure out. But I want to get some time in between so I can get games in and stuff.
Yeah, no problem.
All
All
right,
right, have a good night.
you too.
I had a dress up fancy.
What you guys been doing all evening?
I'm budging.
I live there. I'm Jake.
I met the other
Someone's
day.
underwear is just
You did?
on the floor.
I know, I saw that.
When did you leave?
Huh?
That's like.
Not today. I mean,
Oh.
I met him later.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's never been. We live over there. So what's up with you guys' lives? Is what you guys are doing?
No.
Cover me